Hello, humans. This is Steven Stull, and you are watching The Hold Up, a member of the Without Your Head podcast network. This is the podcast where I interview a friend of mine about a movie that they remember loving but haven't seen for at least 10 years. We have two conversations. First, we talk about what they remember, then we split up and watch the movie, and then we get back together and talk about how well it holds up. What is going on here? This is a video. Obviously, this is a video. So you might remember if you're a regular listener, a couple weeks back or a couple months back, who knows, I talked with my friends Jeff and Bob about the movie Ed and His Dead Mother. And the easiest way I could figure out to get all three of us, get all our audio recorded at once was just to do it over Zoom, which means I have a big Zoom video now. And I thought, you know what? Some people record video for their podcast. Maybe you guys would like to see it. So that's what's going to happen. This is one of the two parts. I'm being so cheap right now. I'm only recording one intro. But this is the talk that I had with Jeff Frumess and Bob Rose about the movie Ed and His Dead Mother. I didn't do anything fancy. You're just going to see the straight plain Zoom video screen because I didn't know how much anybody would care about this. So if you like this, if you like having a video, you like watching this on YouTube instead of listening on Spotify or Spotify, whatever app you use, let me know. You know how to let me know. You can message me on the social medias or wherever. And if you don't like it, I guess tell me that too. But otherwise, please enjoy our faces for a good solid 3 hours or so.
I was here a minute early at 8:03. I just want that to be known for the record. I was early, not late.
Well,
I was also early.
Okay. There's a guy who said recently to somebody I know that in adulthood, 10 minutes before to 10 minutes after is on time. And that made me very angry.
I feel like 10 minutes after does not count.
I don't think 10 minutes after counts.
I don't
as
care
on
how
time.
old
I don't
you
like that.
are. Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Jeff Frumess?
I think that if you're not there on the noodle, then you're not there on the noodle.
Sounds like that.
Why do you always have to try to make it a sex thing?
What do you mean? There's nothing sexy about that. What's with these accusations?
It's just you're so dripping with sex. It's hard to not think about sex.
I
was gonna say, the 10-minute guy sounds like he's the kind of person who can miss like the first few minutes of a movie and be totally fine with it. And I'm not okay with that.
Yes.
I'm not okay with that.
Do you see movies with people like I don't know if this is I watch movies sometimes with people and I want to murder them.
I know, because you're messaging me.
Yeah. I'm like, these people are terrible.
Yeah.
But like, if there's a movie, and I'm talking about live spaces, I go to a movie, and I've almost trained myself not to be mad when people talk during trailers. But like, whatever, I let that go. Then the movie starts, and the picture comes up, and people have this idea that if there's no one on screen speaking, it's okay to keep talking.
Yes.
And
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying yes.
I hate them.
That idea.
I hate them. I hate them. I want them.
I hate them too. But this is my impression of Steven if he's in a movie theater watching a movie. I can't stop. Hold on, I got to take off my glasses.
Jeff, I can hear you breathing. I want you to know. No, this is an audio podcast.
I know. That's my. All right. So do I have to describe?
Do the sound of that facial expression.
Okay.
You just made.
So this is me sitting, looking at a movie theater screen, and I'm pretending I'm Steven, and I have my hands, my fingertips
Your
are all
fingers tented.
Yeah. Thank you. That's the word. I didn't know that was the word to use. My hands tented, or else I would do something more like this. Wait. Yeah, like this. This is what I would do.
Do it like a Kubrick. You know, like
actually. When my brother and I make each other food, like we pretend like it's this big, like this high stakes, like Gordon Ramsay situation, and we like present the plate, and then we jokingly go like this, like waiting.
So my food reality show I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I enjoy it. I'm not afraid to say that I enjoy the
We're
show.
gonna make you feel bad about
But
it. So.
well, good luck, motherfucker. My food reality show is the one with Padma Lakshmi.
Can you hear me breathing now, or is it better?
Oh my God, I haven't watched it in a while. You know, Padma Lakshmi, Tom Colicchio.
I can hear you breathing. I'm gonna look that up, Steven, because I don't know who you're talking
Son
about.
of a damn.
Was it Pat,
it's on
what?
Bravo. Padma Lakshmi.
Padma
Lakshmi. It's on Bravo.
Oh,
I cannot
okay.
believe
I recognize her.
What's
her,
the
yeah.
show?
She's on a lot of cooking shows, though. Top Chef.
Top Chef. Jesus, fuck.
Is she on Chopped?
Why are you embarrassed about watching Top Chef? That's like
I'm not. I said I wasn't embarrassed about what I was like.
Is she on Chopped? That's what I want to know.
She's not on Chopped.
No, she has been a judge on Chopped.
I don't know. I've never watched.
Okay,
Chopped.
is she the one?
I've watched tons of Chopped, so she has.
Is she the lady that says it's really, really spicy all the time?
No, she's super. She's like.
I don't think so. I think you're thinking of a different person.
Every time somebody makes something that's spicy, that they think that's spicy, they give it to Padma, and she's like, eh.
Yeah, that's probably not her.
She needs high levels of spice.
I googled her name, and it's all like bikini photos of her. Nothing to do with food.
She's like,
I just amazing the internet is just like nothing to do with her career.
She's basically the best that like human evolution has to offer.
Listen, this is what I do in the movie theater.
This a high praise right there.
This is what I do.
You just called her the peak of human evolution.
Like she's this beautiful woman who also eats the fuck out of a bunch of food. Like these people on Top Chef, they'll make sliders and fucking steaks and whatever, and she'll just go to town on it. And I'm like, I love you. You're the perfect woman. She was married. I don't know if she still is. She was married to Salman Rushdie for a while.
Salman Rushdie was married to her?
Yes.
I mean, just really?
Yeah, man. Salman Rushdie.
Yeah, you're right.
My point was, Jeff.
Have you seen the pictures of side by side of the two of them?
She's like 4 times.
I don't want to
his
buy.
height.
That feels like we're body shaming him now. I don't.
Oh, we're body shaming him.
Look, he has a beautiful mind.
He has
obviously.
a beautiful mind.
Like,
there's a judge on the show, Tom Colicchio, Jeff, and you reminded me because like one of the things the veterans of the show make fun of him about is like every time he eats a dish, he takes his fork and knife and sort of like disintegrates the food on the plate.
I love
like
that.
he's doing surgery is what they call it.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've seen them do that. I've seen judges do that on like cooking shows, and I love the I always think, man, that's got to be a really sharp knife and be like the conviction that you need in order to just like destroy food. It kind of reminds me of Nicolas Cage's performance in Pig. Have we all seen Pig?
Yes.
Okay, the best scene in Pig for me personally.
Can we talk about the dumbest scene in Pig?
No, the best scene in Pig.
We'll just be talking about Pig for like 2 hours.
No, I just want to say this one thing about Pig, and I also want to say something about movie theater. But in Pig, he's sitting in the restaurant with his formal employee, who now is like running the restaurant.
Right, the molecular gastronomy dude.
And I'll tell you something.
Wanted an English pub.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something.
Spoiler.
Nicolas Cage's performance in this scene
like one
is
bite.
It's so next level. Everything he's doing is so slightly subtle, and it reminds me of that, of like the judges, taking food apart. They present the scallop to him in the scene, and he just looks at it with such disdain, quiet disdain, and then he does
food
this
to
thing.
Look like food.
Yeah, but he does this thing that is just so like next level for his character. He just touches it in this really destructive way. Yeah, he just like pokes the food, and it says everything. Like it's like, how they say like a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's like 10,000 words. The entire history of this character and like what he's all about and everything is summed up. It's summed up in this singular action in this one moment of the scene. And it's just next level, dude. It's next level brilliant. And then, yes, he brings the guy to tears with his words.
Yep.
Just like
Top Chef.
Yeah, just like Top Chef. It's literally a elegant version of like a Top Chef reality show.
It's actually, I would more compare it to like Kitchen Nightmares because Gordon Ramsay has made people cry on that show.
Yeah, but I feel like
so-
Gordon Ramsay is like
He's-
his shtick.
It's
Like,
He's
his
a
American shit.
bombastic, like
Yeah, it's his
American
cartoonish.
I'm a huge fan of his. Actually, I've watched his British shows too. He is totally different on those shows.
Really?
British shows,
He's
yeah.
On the
way-
British ones?
He literally came to America and Americanized
well,
for
that's
the
what
audiences.
that's what America did to Simon Cowell too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
you say a couple of funny insults, and it's like, oh, you're that mean British guy now.
Bob,
Be
are
the
you
mean
drinking?
British guy.
Are you drinking Wegmans
LaCroix?
lemon lime seltzer?
Yes.
Wait, really?
How do you?
Yes.
I knew it. I knew
wonder
it was
where the
Wegmans.
nearest Wegmans is to me.
Yes.
I have
close.
one down the street.
I
I
got
don't-
another key lime.
I got
Right
a
here.
Publix, and Publix is
They're trying to mimic LaCroix's design a little bit.
They are. They are. Sorry, Publix.
Sorry,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
Publix.
Publix is a grocery store where, like, when you go to pick up your
Sounds like a software company.
yeah, it ends in an X because fucking I don't know.
It's edgy.
Like, for the most part, it's the best grocery store, like all around grocery store you can get around here. Like, it's better than Winn-Dixie or whatever. But for the most part, it's fine until you go to pick up your prescriptions, and there's this little spinning bookshelf display right next to the pharmacy with like 365 prayers for dads, and what does God want to do with me? Children's books and shit like that, and like 1001, or like, oh God, what was the one? It was like something like how to make sure your husband is listening to you, the Jesus
Sounds like
way. Or
Great
whatever.
advice.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, let me
needs.
tell you something.
Jeff, you're a father. Would you want some of those prayers?
No, I don't think so. But there is
I'm
a
kidding.
there's an Aldi. There's an Aldi across the parking lot from the hotel in Winchester, Virginia, at the Genre
got it.
Blast Film Festival.
There's an Aldi
Okay.
like 300 feet this way. I'm not.
Wait,
even kidding.
Okay.
Wait,
Well, I've never
you said there's
experienced.
one
Hold
here
on.
at the Genre Blast Festival.
Yes,
I don't-
I've never experienced Aldi until I went in there. I've never been to an Aldi, and here's
Yeah.
what I noticed in the frozen food section. They have like frozen. They have like lobster and like scallop, like frozen food, and I kind of want to have like a seafood party in my hotel room with all of these frozen entrees.
Heat it up in the microwave. Is that?
Yeah. I kind of fantasize about
God.
it. I even wrote it
mean,
into a song.
Aldi,
I really did.
Aldi's where I grocery shop normally. That's where I get my food.
Dude. Okay,
So there you go.
I mean,
I
yeah,
have-
they really changed since the horse meat controversy a long time ago. That's
Well-
what they were famous for like 10 years ago, but they have changed completely.
When I lived in Belgium, there was and I left Europe in '93, so it's been a while. But there was a
Convenient.
fast food restaurant in Belgium called Quick, Q-U-I-K, and the GIs and the American military people used to like to haze newcomers by taking them there and then telling them afterward, "Oh, hey, you just ate a horse burger. How did you feel about that?" But it wasn't a secret. Like, it was just, this was the thing that Quick
They
does.
didn't know the person. didn't know.
The Americans that they brought in, yeah, they didn't know. But
I'd eat a horse burger.
you'd eat a horse burger?
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't eat red meat, so I wouldn't. But when I did eat red meat, I would eat a horse burger.
You would eat a horse burger.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find.
I would
mean,
eat horse
feels-
boogers.
it feels hypocritical not to, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what Jen says. Like, Jen's like, there was one time, several years ago now, like a lot of years ago, a dude in Tampa opened up a taco shop or taco cart, I don't remember, truck, and he was selling lion tacos.
I'd
And
eat that.
And Jen was like, "Let's go get some lion tacos. I'm interested."
I would do
in
that in a heartbeat.
And I was like, I don't know. And like the next weekend, the place was shut down.
well, okay. My question.
Oh, here it is.
like,
Here it is. Oh, sorry. Rick Johnson. Rick Johnson wrote a book that I saw at Publix. It's called "How to Talk So Your Husband Will Listen." And
wow.
Imagine the person buying that.
Right,
Imagine the
it's a
person-
dude. It's like a dude buying it
Oh
for
my
his
God.
wife because it's
Yeah.
gonna. Anyway, there's also a scary choice: the story of Daniel in the Lion's Den. It's a picture book for kids. Knock knock jokes for kids is sitting right next to that.
I'm
so I
assuming
have
all
a
this
guess.
slants Christian. I mean,
Oh
that's-
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Um,
Quickly, I wanted to know: the lion meat. Do they say where it was sourced?
Okay, so the guy says
source
when they
lion
interviewed him,
meat
he
from?
said, I don't know where it came from, but he said the lions that provided the meat were raised
Oh yeah, like they
for meat.
brought the meat. They brought the meat to the table.
The
yeah,
lions,
let me just have my leg.
So
have
they
my
were
leg.
saying they were bred.
They were
be meat?
they were raised
like they
for
were
meat.
cows.
Yeah, they were.
God, somebody's doing that with lions.
somewhere, man. I mean,
It's terrifying to me. That's why, like, Never Let Me Go.
It's not.
Is,
they
like,
weren't
literally
game lions, right? They weren't shot in the wild by white American dentists on
This is
vacation
why-
in Africa.
That's
this is
what
why
worried me.
Never Let Me Go is one of the most terrifying films ever made. I don't know if
didn't
you've
see
seen
that
it.
one. No,
I didn't see either.
You should both watch it.
In my
I don't want to
mind-
spoil
Let's
anything.
my
let's do it
mind-
now. Let's just stop right here and pull
and
it
watch
up,
it.
and I'll
In my
I'll-
mind, I thought you were talking about "Call Me by my Name."
That's why it
Which
doesn't
Call
eat
Me by My
peaches.
I
Name?
was like, why is Jeff talking about that movie?
No,
The-
no,
It's a-
but
it's
let
a
me
ba-
tell you, speaking of movies, I just want to get this in real quick.
Although, if we're talking about movies that make you upset about meat eating, it would make sense that
Call
they
Me
would
by Your
star.
Name.
No, that it would make sense that they would star Army Hammer, right?
Right.
Listen.
He never. Okay, real quick. He never ate. I'm
Okay,
not
are
defending.
you going to
it.
jump to the defense of the sexual
No.
assailant who was accused of being a cannibal?
Did he? I don't actually know that much about it. I just saw
Yeah.
the Twitter.
I just
Did
know
he actually
that there was like
bite somebody or something? He didn't
there-
actually like attack anyone, did he?
there was like a 5-minute period when we all wondered whether Army Hammer was maybe a cannibal, and that was a lot of fun until we found out, oh no, he's just a serial sexual harasser.
So the problem wasn't that he was like saying cannibalistic things. It was that he was saying them to somebody unwantedly.
No, it was just like regular
Oh.
groping and
Oh, okay. See, I didn't
Like-
know that part.
yeah. I mean,
I
he
just-
also
I knew
said
about the
he also said
meat.
weird cannibalistic things, but like
But like
he's a fucking weirdo
Okay,
actor
when I was told
whose name
about
is
it,
Army Hammer. Come on.
when I was told about it, somebody was like, he sent a bunch of like sex that said like things about eating someone, and I
Do you know
asked
what
the
vor
person-
is?
Vor?
Vor. Do you know what vor is?
Do I know what vor? is?
Yes. Do you
Obviously
know
not, 'cause
what
I just
vor
asked.
is? Jeff, do you know what
Vor is a fetish where is the fetish of being swallowed alive
eaten,
and
yeah.
whole or
Sure.
eaten, and there's a lot of frog vor and there's a lot of
Well, that's-
overlap with
okay.
You're talking
that.
about frog vor?
So
Yeah, because frogs swallow their prey whole.
Oh,
And
like
let me tell you
Pac-Man
something.
frogs? Dude, did you ever see
No,
Pac-Man?
Yes,
Yes, I
on
have seen those,
YouTube, on
yes.
YouTube.
Those
But
are
let me tell you
wild.
something.
Yeah.
This is absolutely one of the most terrifying things ever. Because you know what? A Pac-Man frog will eat something that's exactly its same size. So somebody put a mouse into the tank with the Pac-Man frog, and they're the same size. I go, oh, that mouse is going to be friends with that frog because
Nope.
mice and because frogs eat
Frogs and mice
flies.
hang out together?
Yeah,
Oh, well,
frogs
yeah.
eat flies.
Frogs
That's
don't eat
all, and they're going to be
mice.
friends. They're going to be friends, and then the frog turns to the mouse, who's the same size, and just swallows him whole. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck
mean-
is going on?
The
Yeah,
Pac-Man
I've-
frog
I've
is like
definitely-
a maw with a couple of legs hanging out underneath. That's
Yes.
like
I've
it's just a
seen-
big mouth.
I've seen like illustrated pornography mimicking things like that.
Mhm.
You know, where somebody will swallow someone else, and
That's
then
vor.
you can see
That's vor,
inside of
There's
the
different
guy's
levels.
like giant
That's
throat.
vor.
The person's jerking off inside
Yeah.
of their throat while their whole body's in there.
Right. That's like there's different, I don't want to say levels. I don't want to tier them that way, but there's different varieties of vor. There's vor like that where you just sort of imagine yourself kind of being swallowed by
Inside.
somebody.
Like
and then
Ren and
there's
Stimpy.
vor where like you want to be roasted like a pig, you know, with an apple in your mouth, and you imagine yourself in
That's
the
called
oven.
dulcet, and that is a whole other level of fucked up.
Now, can a person?
Hey,
that's,
don't kink shame.
Yeah, don't.
I'm
kink shame.
not kink
As
shaming.
long
I'm
as they're
just
not
saying.
killing people, it's fine.
I'm just saying that dulcet is it's like consensual.
Do you guys-
It's misogynistic as hell.
Yeah, it's
very,
always
very
the women. It's always the
misogynistic.
woman, and I don't know.
Women
why I said
are getting
imagine yourself.
eaten.
It's always the woman as the dish.
Yeah, and
And-
it's like
Oh,
it's
so
about
that's part of it?
consensual.
It has
Yes,
to be women.
it's
It has to.
misogynistic consensual cannibalism.
I'm saying
And it's
there's got
fucked
to be
up.
some dulcet people who are progressive and like have grown past that. They're just like, I just want to eat everybody.
Progressive dulcet.
I want to cook. I
people.
want to cook and eat all people. I don't like.
Are you guys? Are you familiar with Dulcet? Do you guys know Dulcet?
I mean, I am now.
Yeah.
I've seen some stuff. I haven't.
You guys have seen the movie Doomsday, right?
No.
Like,
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic?
One of the
I love
best
that
cannibal scenes
Yeah, yeah.
ever
I was
done
like,
ever.
You talking about that made me think like that scene has got to be like
Except consensual. Consensual.
Which was
Well,
the fuck? Remind me.
When he gets
I just
cooked
remember like
and
car
eaten.
races and stuff.
I
or
can
car
imagine
chases.
someone in Dulcet like.
How do you
literally being
not
turned
remember
on.
that scene? Yeah, someone from Dulcet probably jerked off
What's
to
the
that scene
actor-
100 times.
What is?
What
the name of
happens
that
is,
guy?
Stephen, what happens is these people living in a quarantine zone are cannibals.
Yeah, right.
and
I remember that part.
Yeah. So they say, we're going to eat this guy. They literally barbecue him and then rip him apart and eat him.
But
It's crazy.
The actual shots are like people grabbing actual like pork roast and ripping
Pork.
it apart.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like pork.
Yeah.
It's
Do you guys-
pretty nuts.
Do you guys know? You know Dan Savage. You know who he is?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. He has this idea, and he's got
He's the guy who
acronyms.
turned Santorum into a cuss
Right.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got this idea, and there's an acronym for it that I don't remember. Of course, I don't remember his acronyms. But he's like, if you happen to be a foot fetishist, right? And here's the thing, I don't think most people grasp if-then clauses. I think most people are like really they really struggle with nuance. So there's a huge if at the front of this, right? The if you're a foot fetishist and you can keep your shit together as a shoe salesman. Like, let's say you go and you get a job as a shoe salesman and you put shoes on people's feet all day and you bank it and you go home and you jerk off and the customers you dealt with never got a single shade of creepiness off you, then that's like totally safe. Like
That to me, okay, here's my problem. To me, that almost feels like people jerking off to your Facebook page.
Okay,
And
but
I
that
know- and
happens.
It happens, but I've like from talking to friends and
Yeah.
stuff, like literally I've heard people say like I've heard lady friends say I found out that a person was jerking off to my Facebook page and I was creeped out.
How did they find out?
Because he told them.
Well, okay, there's the line though.
But I'm
That's
saying,
like,
but I was like, but my question is, I was like, you were creeped out. What if you never found out? Is it
yeah,
okay?
what if you never found out?
And then like it's like full of philosophical question. It's like
You got to
I don't
imagine
know.
it happens to everybody.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I think that if you
I have jerked
have-
off to both of your Facebook pages. I hope that's okay.
Well, now I want to. Would you just like heart the pictures so I know which ones?
I
Or
want
is
you
it?
to-
Or
no,
is
I
it my
want you to be-
posts? Is it my posts? Where
It's,
you're
the-
like,
it's all
God,
He
words.
jerks
This-
off to your
yeah,
Yeah, no,
words.
it's just the words.
Oh.
Steven's so pithy.
He said the
Yeah,
word
It's the
too.
width. I
He said
can't deal with
two.
it. It's never.
Oh,
Any,
he used the
I'm not
word
looking
moist.
at you.
Listen,
It's
can
more
I
like
just
it's
tell
it's
you?
a mind sex.
I just
Yeah.
want to tell you what I do in movie theaters because I think this might help you
Okay.
guys.
Is it
You realize we're
relevant to
talking
what we're
about
talking about like this
masturbation?
minute? Or is it relevant to what we were talking about like 10 minutes ago and you're just
No,
bringing
no.
it back around?
I'm bringing it back around because I really think you'd appreciate this advice.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody is on their phone in a movie theater, I generally never experience this because I'm in the Alamo and it doesn't happen in the Alamo,
Oh,
generally
we need-
speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't
However-
even tolerate it.
However, I went to go see The Northman at another theater because my stupid Alamo wasn't playing it at the time. I took my dad to go see it, and a woman one seat over was on her phone like the whole time, and I was literally losing my mind. And so I decided.
Is it chopstick through the eardrum, like straight
Well,
into the brain?
Here's what I was thinking in my head. I was
You
like,
say, okay,
"There's
on the phone means she was talking on the
no,
phone.
no,
doing
no,
other
she
shit.
was
looking at it.
scrolling
Oh,
on her
scrolling.
phone.
Okay, okay.
You paid money to see a fucking movie, and you're scrolling on your phone while you're in the cinema. Like, and it's The Northman, a movie that's like pure cinema. Like, fuck you. Like, just fuck you, man. And so, like, I'm trying to think, like, what's the best way to deal with the situation? My first thought
Crop
is. Well, I thought in my head, actually, that's not a bad idea either. I thought in my head, like, I'll just whisper to her and I'll say, could you please stop? But what if she doesn't stop? I'll be even more mad. Not only will I be more mad, I'll be thinking about it and I won't be focusing on the movie. That
Been there.
doesn't work for me.
Oh yeah.
So I don't want to directly, politely confront her.
Mhm.
I could ask somebody else. I could ask like somebody who works there. Can you please tell this woman? But then I have to get up. I have to leave. I don't want to do that either. That's
right,
not my
right.
thing.
You don't want to sacrifice your movie.
Right. So then
Right.
I thought the only way to fight crazy is to be equally crazy. It's like the only way. So I was like, I suddenly came to me. There's a way to address this without turning my head, without verbally saying anything, and without like obviously like, you know, grabbing the phone out of her hand or something.
Yeah.
There's a very, and it's aggressive. It's a very aggressive thing, but it's silent. And so what I did was I turned my phone up to the maximum brightness. And every time I could see,
pointed it at her.
Yes, every time I saw her in the corner of my eye take her phone out, I just turned my phone like this and went like that. That's all I did. I never took my hand off the screen.
Beautiful.
That's
I never took
funny.
my eye off the screen. I just waved my hand like this. And, you know, it took about 3 times and then finally it stopped.
Nice.
And you want to know something? I was very happy because I didn't have to whisper. I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to like, you know,
tattle.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't have to
miss the
tattle.
movie.
I didn't, you know, I believe in the philosophy that restraint of pen and tongue is like in normal situations is the best, you know, most beneficial or it can be very beneficial because when I open my mouth, I end up saying something I regret. If I open my mouth and she doesn't give me the response that I want, then maybe I might say something really nasty to her and then I'll owe her an apology. And I don't want to do that either. So the best thing I could do is just hold up the phone. And I got to tell you, it worked a treat and I would do it again. And I would give that advice to you.
That's a good tip.
Have I ever told you
good
guys
tip.
about when I saw Avatar? What happened?
What happened when you saw
not-
You
Avatar?
spent 2.5 hours just
Right.
punching yourself in the dick over and over.
No.
It's 3 hours.
It was
No,
3
but
hours, yeah.
you give it the first half hour, right?
I mean, I don't hate Avatar. I don't love it.
I like Avatar.
But
I hate. Oh my god.
no, I don't hate it.
It's
Regardless,
it's a
when I
3-hour
saw it,
first act, by the way. But
it was me and my girlfriend, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a very sparse theater. I think it had been out in a while, and this guy was 2 rows ahead of us, right, by himself. He's scrolling on his phone, but what made it genius or so terrible that I appreciated it was whenever he wasn't looking at it, he held it. I know that it's an audio podcast, but he held it like this.
like off to the side,
Like,
just sort of
and I'm
absently.
we're sitting behind him, and its screen is on full brightness, and it's just like this. And sometimes he would check it, and I was like whispering to her, I was like, "Are you seeing this guy? This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. Like, how could you be this fucking ignorant for 3 hours? The dude, I don't think it turned off for 3 hours." And I didn't. And she was like, "Are we gonna say anything?" I was like, "No," because I want to see if he can go the distance. I want to see if his ignorance can reach the level of which I think it can. And it did. He did it the whole time.
Jeff, I gotta go back for a minute. A little while ago, I said I suggested you crop dust that woman, and I kind of need to go back on that. I think honestly,
That might be
What if
come
that
off
was
as
just-
assault. That might be assault.
No,
straight
that's
up.
not assault.
Little
Crop
bit.
dusting's not assault. No.
I don't know. I've seen.
I mean, I've
headlines.
listen, I've crop dusted a lot of people in my life because I worked in a restaurant. I've crop dusted.
You probably
Well, I was
farted
gonna
when
say,
we were at. Did you fart when we were at Genre Blast? That counts as crop dusting us.
No,
Did you crop
No,
dust
I didn't.
us? Did you crop dust me? Jeff?
no, but I'll tell you.
no,
very
I-
recently, I was walking on the street and I farted, and there was someone right behind me, directly behind me, and I turned my head and I saw that I literally farted in someone's face, and I power walked away.
He's
I'm
just
sorry,
like,
Steven, I
boom.
cut you off. What were
No,
you
no,
saying?
no, it's fine. I was just saying, I think I'm a little more of an aggressor when people piss me off. So I just wanted to adjust my suggestion, and instead of crop dust, I say straight, ass to face, direct. Nothing subtle. Just go fart right in her face. And,
So just
and
point the anus.
Just point, aim it. Make it very clear. Like, I'm doing this because you have your phone out. You stupid asshole.
Here's the beauty of doing this: when
See,
you
now
wave your
that
phone.
That's
Now- okay,
more
I had-
salty. That's more salty than crop dusting, though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But
That's like
I
a direct attack.
Yeah, but when you wave the phone, here's the thing. What are they going to do? Are they going to complain to you and say, stop waving your phone? I'm be like, you're the one that's on your
You're the
phone.
one on your
Like they literally can't say anything. It's like the greatest
No, you have a
tactic.
You have a better, yeah. But for
It's
me,
like Gandhi.
usually
It's like a
when
Gandhi
somebody-
tactic. It's like passive. you
When
know?
I see people on their phones in the theater, it's usually at these like stadium theaters, like the Regal or whatever, and I'm up, 2/3 back in the theater or something like that, and the phone screen I'm seeing is another third of the theater down in front of me.
Yeah, so go
So,
to
like-
talk to them would be a whole thing.
Right, and like waving my phone at them is going to be
Won't work.
pointless because they don't look behind them.
You need
Yeah, it
a
only works if they're next to you. It doesn't
So,
work unless they're next to
What
you.
I like to do
M&Ms.
is C batteries. I just carry a bunch of C batteries, and just
No, you don't.
No, I don't do that.
You want to know something?
way.
M&Ms. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I got to say something about M&Ms. M&Ms would totally work. You could lob an M&M at someone,
They're
and
untraceable.
It's first, it's untraceable. Second of all, it's this gray zone where somebody complains and you say he threw an M&M at me, and you go, "It's an M&M." What are you like, for real? You're really complaining about an M&M?
It is throwing something at somebody if they can prove it, but I don't.
Yeah, but what about nerds? What if you're throwing nerds?
I mean, nerds don't have. How close is the person? Because nerds will lose air velocity.
Yeah,
No,
need
you have a
some
straw. No. You make a shotgun, and
You're doing that.
you do
I
you do a-
fantasize about a theater where like there's overhead, there's this little rack of like hundreds of LED spotlights, and you can say, somebody monitors the theater while the movie's going on and says, oh, somebody in seat F13 has their phone on, and they hit a button and the movie immediately stops and a spotlight comes on pointing at seat F13. I think public shaming is the way to go. Like,
I mean, so for me, I just always said like there should be. I want a movie theater where like it has those blockers all around the theater.
Yeah,
like,
but
like cell phones don't work at all.
Right, you're talking about like a Faraday, make a big Faraday cage or something, which is great, except that dumbasses won't pick it up, and they won't understand, and they'll just be like, "Oh, I'm not getting any data. I'm just going to keep scrolling and refreshing until I get data."
I mean, the only other option is to make them give up their phones like you do at a press screening.
No, there is another option. It's called watching movies on my fucking couch, man. And
I like going to the theater. I'm sorry.
I like going to the theater too. M&Ms.
Yeah. I know that we differ on this. So you said it
No,
on Facebook.
I love when the theater experience is good. When there are no fucking assholes in there, I love it. I love the theater when it's a good theater experience. But one fucking asshole will just ruin a whole experience for me.
Yeah,
and then I feel like I
sucks.
need to watch the movie again. I wasted this money. I wasted this time.
I've had the advantage of being on the press list, which you can get the press screenings without being on a press list.
Yeah.
The best thing about them is they do have security guards, and that usually cuts out that problem. Because if somebody's standing there,
what percentage of movies that you watch in a year are screenings like that?
Well, I mean, if it was in the normal times, it was every studio movie that came out.
Yeah.
You went to
literally,
press screenings for every single studio movie that came out?
Yeah, for the past 13 years.
Holy shit, how did you do that? How can I do that? How did we do this?
I had an advantage because I made a zombie movie. I helped make a zombie movie from our mutual friend.
Do you want to talk
Perkins.
about that for 2 or 3 hours? Or
No.
No?
I mean,
no, wait. Just finish. Wait, Bob, finish what you're saying.
So our mutual friend Kevin Perkins, who I believe lives near you now. No, he doesn't live near you anymore.
He used to live near me.
He used to live in Florida.
Kevin who?
Perkins. You don't know him, Jeff.
When he was talking to you a minute ago saying our mutual friend, he was talking to me.
I was talking to you.
Even though he was talking to you.
Yes.
Hey, do you remember that picture I posted a bunch of years ago of me looking like a cardinal in the church with a glass of wine?
Yes, I mean I do.
Oh, that picture that I furiously masturbate to every night.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that was for a Kevin Perkins.
I just masturbated to the caption, not the picture.
To the caption, not the picture. To be clear,
just the words.
I find the O's so filling.
Yeah. So Kevin was I volunteered. I volunteered on his movie, and he was shooting his movie. And the thing was, we had since he shot it for 10 years, we had this grace period of where Kevin was in charge of all the screenings in Baltimore.
Wow.
And anyone who was working on the movie was pretty much like, Kevin sent us an email inviting us to everything every time. So it was this amazing time of free movies for everyone every Tuesday.
So you were just had a season pass. That was not a season pass.
I mean, and then after he left, I got to stay on the press list because of Thunder Grunt. So
wow.
So he left, and I still was able to do it. And you end up just seeing all the same people. If I wasn't on the press list, I could probably walk up right now and they'd be like, "Ah."
You're telling me you got the juice.
I think I do still, but the thing is, like I said, I was spoiled because I saw the big movies like that, the ones that are usually packed with people.
Right.
And we had a security guard.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the cell phones were taken at the front door. So that's a luxurious way to see things.
So I was on a mailing list, like a Sony press screen, or yeah, I guess it was press screening mailing list, where like for a while they would mail me once a month or once every other month or something like that, and say, hey, we're doing a secret screening, or a not secret, but like a press screening of this movie, and we want you to come. And we go to those sometimes if it wasn't a Ryan Reynolds movie, and like there'd be the baggies, you put your phone in the baggie, whatever, and then you go watch the movie, and then we'd leave, and it was fine. But then at a certain point, they started emailing on like a weekly basis, and all they were saying was, hey, this new Sony movie's in the theaters, you should go see it. And I'm like,
no pass?
Yeah, no, like 3 years went by and I didn't get a single screening invitation. It was all just, hey, this movie's out now, hey, this movie's out, and I just fucking unsubscribed.
A lot changed with the screenings over the years, even before COVID.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one since COVID, but before COVID happened, so Kevin used to call them pass holes. Because there's people that I was going there legitimately, but there were people that you would see there every single screening. They wouldn't miss it. Like their lives, this is what they did. Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to make fun of them or anything, but they look like they didn't have much else in life besides this. What
are you trying to say?
I don't know. I'm not saying anything specific because there were a variety of different flavors of people. Just like
so you're a vor. You're into this vor thing now.
Yeah. I wanted to eat all of them and consume them and cook them. It was just like I remember there was one guy who literally had a trash bag filled with all of his belongings.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like it was weird. Like
That's weird.
I don't know what to make of that guy, but
that's weird.
He would be at every screening, and sometimes he would show up and he didn't have a pass, and I literally saw people yell in his face for him to leave, like security guards and like people in charge of the screenings. Like this would happen often. Like all that shit that happens during the normal screenings, well, for those would happen outside while everyone was staring at you, and it was awkward as fuck. Right. Yeah. So, but there's people that would literally like sign up for every one of those lists you're talking about, so that they wouldn't miss a fucking thing. If they didn't get it from one place, they get it from another, and they would show up to every one, and that was their life. I'm sure COVID ruined their whole social empire.
Sounds like me at the Alamo Drafthouse a little bit.
Yeah, but Alamo doesn't do those types of screenings.
No, they don't. But I just go there a lot and just sit.
But you're paying money though, right?
I mean, I have a season pass. Yeah, I'm paying money.
So you're paying money. Yeah, you're welcome.
No, what I loved about the Alamo, like the only time I've been near an Alamo, I lived in Austin, and there were like 7 Alamos there at the time. Actually, there were only like 4 at the time, but I lived in Austin. I used to go to
That's
the Alamo.
home base, right?
Right. Austin, not San Antonio, which should puzzle the heads of Texans since the Alamo was in. Never mind, doesn't matter. Anyway,
all the Texans that listen to your podcast.
Yeah, all the thousands of millions of Texans that listen to my podcast.
This is the number 3. This is the number 3 podcast in Texas.
For some reason, I would find it slightly funny if your entire fan base was like people you don't fundamentally agree with.
Hey, you hear what Steven talks about?
Yeah, I've like literally, I would like to say, sometimes somebody will say something on the podcast, like we'll make a joke, and I'll be like, oh, I guess I'm losing all my fundamentalist listeners, and I'm going to get some emails or something. I've never gotten an email about this podcast, not once.
I mean, emails.
I've never gotten a comment. I've never gotten a
where do you post it? You only post it on Facebook.
No, I post. Yeah, so I guess I get comments actually on Facebook. That's not fair. In fact, this one, I don't know. Anyway, so I get, but I mean, like, I've never gotten an iTunes review,
really,
or a Spotify review that I've been aware of. I mean, I don't know how I would be aware of these things.
Your pages to see if you've gotten any reviews.
Me too.
What if they're really bad? They're they're just terrible.
I mean, what is special about this podcast? It's just some like middle-aged dumb white guy talking to people about movies. Like,
I don't know. I love the picture of you.
That describes all of our shows, by the way. You just described all 3 of our things. So
yeah. I mean, Jeff has a hook, right? Like
Misfits.
He does. Yeah, he's just like the punk stuff, right? And then,
I mean, I do, but you know what? I really just everything now is Frumess. I put Frumess at the end of every video because I want it to come up in searches.
Yeah.
I want that name to come up on searches. So yes, that is the hook, or that is like the what's it called? The anchor.
Right.
But I'm trying to vary it more. And I'll tell you something. I think I might have made more progress in my aims if I just talked about one topic or two topics constantly. Because one day I want to talk about the history of Christmas, and then the next day I'm talking about the Northmen. I think I totally mess up the algorithm, and that it makes it harder.
YouTube
for me
really
to
likes
search.
one topic. YouTube is like
They do.
channels more successful.
If you could put out 4 videos about about Super Mario Brothers 2 every week for 3 years.
That's literally what they reward. That's what they reward.
Yeah.
That's what they reward. And I stand in the face of that, and I say, fuck that. I'm going to talk about whatever I want. And I'm just going to put my name, Frumess, in the thing. And hopefully if I talk long enough, eventually Frumess will come up in recommended if you look at one of my videos. Oh, you like this Frumess video.
Right.
Then you'll like, instead of, oh, you like this about Christmas, or you like this about the Misfits, then you'll like this, And I've started to see in vidIQ, I'm starting to see my name is coming up as a whatchamacallit, keyword.
A killing word.
Yeah, a killing word. Exactly.
My name is a killing word. That's my...
You say Frumess and it causes
That's my Kyle MacLachlan impression.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
MacLachlan. That's pretty not good, but...
Fuck you.
Wait, do it again?
I can't
Here's mine. Here's
mine. I can't find
Ready?
any reviews.
Yeah, you do yours. You do yours first. My name is Killing Word.
Hi, my name is Kyle.
Okay, Stevens is better.
Donuts.
Yours sounds like Mr. Bill.
No, that's like wow.
Wait, you didn't like my impression of Kyle MacLachlan?
That's like the Blue Velvet era Kyle MacLachlan.
No. Hey guys,
let's hear your Twin Peaks return.
look at all this velvet. It's blue.
Oh no!
You know what's funny is that you two are doing the exact same voice. Like, people listening are not going to know that was 2 of you talking.
Yeah, it's true.
Sing
Kyle MacLachlan.
It's harmonize. It's a small world in that voice. The 2 of you.
Ask me to do another impression. I like this game. Go ahead, ask me. Ask me to do another impression. Go ahead, ask me.
Okay, let's hear your Michael Caine impression.
I was gonna do the Mr. Bill again for Michael Caine, but I actually want to try and do.
Oh, you have a Michael Caine?
What? Oh, I'm actually. Wait.
Nobody look at him.
I cannot do Michael Caine at all.
There's a video.
Bad, but it's not.
Okay. Try to do Christopher Walken. This is my 2 mice fall into a vat of butter. 2 mice fall into a vat of cream. The first mouse, he drowns, but the second mouse,
Lord,
he crawls his way out until it's butter. I was that second mouse.
I carried that dead mouse up my ass for 5 years.
I can tell you're trying to do a Christopher. Like, if you didn't say I'm doing a Christopher Walken impression, I can tell you're trying to.
Listen.
All right, here's my Al Pacino. Al Pacino, ready? All right, no, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
My name
well, it's off to great ass. I scared the cat. The cat ran away. But no, it's gonna.
My name isn't Al anymore. It's Dunk.
Okay, actually, no. All right. This is my impression of a Mad TV sketch with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro going into 31 Baskin Robbins flavors.
So this is a bit with universal appeal. Clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all the flavors. They got rum raisin, mint chocolate chip. Oh ha!
Did you say oh ha?
No, I said hoo ha.
Okay. He said,
okay.
Oh ha.
Listen,
they got mint chocolate chip. They got that. That's just a rip off of Mad TV. That's not
a little bit.
Little bit. That's Will Sasso and Frank. What's his face? Yeah.
There is
Frank
a video.
Caliendo.
There's a
Frank
video
Caliendo, he's so good.
on internet, and you're gonna have to find it.
On internet.
There's a video.
It's on internet.
What the fuck? Is this
That
the first
sounds
time
like
you've-
a 90-year-old man talking about. It's
Where?
on internet.
Where is he?
No,
Where is
okay,
he?
Now
He's
wait a
on
minute. Now wait a
internet.
minute. If your great uncle says, "I saw one of those Mohawk punk characters on the television," you'd be like, "Dad, or great uncle, you don't have to say the television. You could just say you saw him."
No, I wouldn't
on
say
television.
anything. I just
I
say,
don't-
oh.
that sounds okay to me.
What? That sounds okay. Anyway, it
But
doesn't
on
matter.
internet sounds
I have
weird.
been saying internet as opposed to the internet for a really long time, and just because it's the first time you noticed it, fine. But
Have you ever
there's
seen the Tim and Eric sketch, The Internet? The Internet.
Probably. There is a video on the internet that you have to find, and there's a backstory to it. I'm not gonna tell you the backstory because it's not terribly important. But there's a guy, and I don't know if he really wants to be associated with this video anymore because he used to have it like on his own website or something, and then made it disappear. So maybe he doesn't want you to see this video. But I've watched this video. It's about 20 years old, and
Is it ghosty?
no. It is, the guy is doing a version of Jaws 4 that he imagines the movie to be without having himself seen Jaws 4. And that doesn't sound like, I know it, but
Yeah,
it's
fine.
It's
Yeah.
by this guy Rob Schraub, SCHRAB.
Oh, yeah, Rob Schraub.
Yeah, you should look up Rob Schraub.
I'm a huge fan of his.
Okay, he made a Jaws 4 video about 20 years ago. He and his friends from Channel 101 had this little party. I said I wasn't going to do the backstory. It doesn't matter. They did a little party where they all made Jaws 4 videos without any of them having seen it.
Yeah.
You've seen them all? You've seen Rob Schraub's? With the dick in the orange?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's Jeff's face. Jeff, you got to find this.
Yeah, Rob Schraub was a huge.
He's amazing. No, I
love
got
him, yeah.
fucking, I got, you can't, not very
Got
good.
friggin' Rob Schraub tattoos on your back.
I do actually.
You really?
Yeah, this is
Holy
Jeff.
shit.
This big giant fucking thing on my arm
It's Jeff
is
from
it's
Scud,
Jeff from
right?
Scud the Disposable Assassin. Yeah. I went.
Oh, I know Scud.
So
Yeah.
here's an embarrassing story of mine. Of 20 years ago or something, I lived in Orange County, California, and
This better be embarrassing.
it's super embarrassing.
I don't know.
So Rob Schraub posted on MySpace because we were like,
Ooh.
I don't remember what you called each other. You weren't friends. It was like you followed.
No, it was friends.
What was it? Was it friends?
It was
Okay,
friends. Because it's your top 8 friends, remember?
Your top 8. You're right. So Rob
Ooh,
Schraub.
top 8 was important. Holy
Yeah, it
hell.
was. Rob was
Yeah.
one of those dudes who just accepted friend requests from everybody. So I was his friend. Not that that's special because he had like 9 million of them or whatever. But he posted he was having a yard sale up at his place in Los Feliz, which he doesn't live there anymore, so I can say that. So I drove 70 miles up from Orange County to Los Feliz to go to his yard sale. And it's so funny because I'm sitting there and he's got, you know about his art style where he does what he calls drawless animation, where he'll make puppets and stuff out of cardboard and paint them and then move them and it looks like art animation. So
That's cool.
He had a bunch of this shit out, but he also had a bunch of like dishes and pot holders and fucking,
Normal stuff.
Yeah, so I'm like picking up all this stuff and trying to buy it and buying it. I spent way too much money even though I didn't have a job, and bought all this stuff. And meanwhile, there's these like 75-year-old Mexican ladies looking through the pot holders and stuff and standing next to me.
Who are like legitimately at a yard sale.
Right. They're here for yard. They just walk by. They didn't see him on MySpace, right? But the thing is, Rob wasn't there at the moment. Kate was there. His wife, Kate Freund, was there. And I guess I looked like the right kind of weirdo because she's like, oh, hey, are you friends with Steve Agee and them? And I'm like, I sort of panic and I'm like, no. And I like, she's like, oh, they're coming later. You should hang out. And I was like,
you got invited.
and I was like, and I like left.
What?
I told you, it's fucking embarrassing. Yeah, it's
You realize
horrific.
if you went to that party,
dude,
your
Would've
whole
changed
life,
your life.
my
It could be
entire
different.
goddamn life might have been different. I might. I don't know
life
if you
might not
follow
be here.
Steve Agee.
Steve- I mean, yeah, he was just in Peacemaker.
No,
mean,
I
like,
know, but
yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
you follow him on
That could
on
have been
Instagram.
you. That could have been you.
No, I doubt that. But he's an incredible photographer. That's what he does on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
He takes pictures of people, and he takes these really gorgeous portraits. So maybe there would be a Steve Agee portrait of me floating around on Instagram.
You could have been the third gay guy on the Sarah Silverman program,
or I could have been like,
oh, that guy.
Yeah,
Steve Agee. Yeah.
Steve Agee. Yeah.
What Economicos? What the fuck is his name?
John Economos.
John Economos. Yeah.
Economos. Yeah.
Economos. I could have been like, 1 out of 17 guest voices who had 2 words in a line or 2 words in an episode of Rick and Morty in mid 3rd season. Or
I mean,
like
that's
that would have been
awesome.
No, it would have been, but you know,
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
But I suck at like interacting. I panicked because I didn't know what to say to Kate Freund.
Was this back in the? I think we've talked about this on your actual show before, but was this back in Channel 101 days?
Yeah. This was Channel 1. Well, Channel 101
was big for me.
Yeah,
back
it was
in the
great
because it was kind of right before YouTube became what YouTube became.
Right.
And Channel 111 was where like all the weirdo or funny comedy filmmakers went, and it was all because of Schraub and like Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub created it,
and Jack
like,
Black did a lot of stuff.
Jack Black was in the like all those.
I submitted like 3 or 4 shorts. They never got in. But
I never got in either. But like, you're right. This thing is so old that all those videos are still out there. It's just they're not on YouTube. They're on the Channel 101 site, and it's kind of old and clunky and like.
I've seen Mayor uploads and stuff like of Computer Man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Rob Schraub's.
Jeff, you would have loved this if you were.
Rob,
I know you don't know what we're talking about.
I don't know it. I don't know it.
You should look up channel101.com.
I will. I will check it out.
It's
remember
amazing.
The show, The Briefcaser? I remember The Briefcaser.
So for anybody who doesn't know,
show.
including Jeff, Channel 101 was like a monthly, almost film festival, but the rules were you would make a 5-minute pilot, and if it went over 5 minutes, it'd be disqualified. But you had a 5-minute pilot, and they'd play them at a festival, at a theater, and they'd have a panel, or maybe it was just all the audience members, but they'd vote, and the top 5-minute pilots would get the chance to make a second episode next month, right? That's the winning. If you win, you get to make another episode. So you'd get these people who, sometimes, like, there were a lot of what they called, I don't know, dead pilots or whatever, where like pilots that didn't move on, that never got voted in. But there were some people like Mike McCafferty, everything he made I always loved, but they would make a series and it would go on and they keep winning and they'd get up to like 8 of them and they're like, fuck, I don't really want to do this. So they just make 5 minutes and 1 second just to get themselves out of the running, when they were like, all right, I need to step back off the stage here.
No, that's I like back in that was early internet days where I was like I don't know what the internet is.
2005, somewhere around.
But honestly, that was like one of those things where I would say it was really inspiring to me. Like,
for sure.
Because that's one of the things where I was like, I make stuff for that.
It was,
you know what I mean? Like we didn't have those reasons before that. I was like,
it was one of the first places I ever saw experimenting with anti-comedy.
Yeah.
Before like Tim and Eric and stuff.
It had like a lot of Adult Swim power to it. Like I don't, that wasn't the same thing exactly, but it had a lot of that.
There was a lot of controversy in there, like when Rob pulled down his Dick Orange video of Jaws 4, and Justin Roiland did a cartoon called House of Cosby's.
Oh,
and got a string of cease and desist letters from Cosby's people. It was basically multiplicity with Cosby's.
Dude, that's one of those things where if I could go back to the first time I saw House of Cosby's, I was like, I couldn't breathe. Like that kind of shit.
Is it still up? Now I gotta watch this.
It's somewhere. It's not going to be on Channel 101 site, but you'll find it.
You kind of can't find as much humor in it anymore. It's not as funny. It's Cosby, but
I think Jeff will find it.
Yeah,
I do want to say, one time I uploaded when my Nana was still alive. I had her just do this goofy little video when we were at Trader Joe's. I was driving her to Trader Joe's. I said, Nana, turn around and say Happy Halloween. And my Nana was a real character, so she turns around and goes, Happy Halloween, like that. And I was like, oh my God. and I edited it in a way, and I put Rabid Grannies 2 as the title. And I posted it on YouTube. And the guy who made Rabid Grannies commented under the video and said, "Hey, we're making Rabid Grannies 2. You better not make Rabid Grannies 2." Something like that. I was like, is this the guy that you really made Rabid Grannies? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, I love Rabid Grannies. He's like, just don't make the second one. I was like, I'm not.
What's
it's a
you
joke.
talking about?
Did he ever make the second one? That ever actually
I don't think it ever happened, but you know what? I'm going to search for what his word for word. It's up. It's up on my channel. I'm going to find out what the word to word verbatim thing that he said. This was the guy himself. He's from a European country. I forget where. Hold on, I'll tell you where.
Oh, he did make it. Rabid Grannies 2 Ravenshore.
He did? It's been made?
I found it on IMDb.
Talk about no splash. Here, I put Rabid Grannies 2. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I put Rabid Grannies 2 The Revengeful as a goof. This was in 2014. And this is the response I got. This is the comment. I love how this is still here. Please note, this is from DV Release 4 years ago. Please. So this was 4 years after this had been up. This guy comments, please note, I am the producer of Rabid Grannies and that you don't have any right for a sequel whatsoever. If you proceed with this, it will be the cause for a lawsuit.
Fuck you.
Johan and then his name is James Desert, aka Johan von whatever. I can't pronounce his last name.
Does he come from a country without humor? Is that like?
I don't know, but then I responded.
Grannies, so I don't know.
I responded. I said, "Oh my God, this is just a parody I made with my grandma as a joke. I love your film and grew up on it. Nothing to worry about. Thank you for making that film that I cherished and I cherished growing up as a teenager." And that was basically it. He didn't come back. Wait. This is hilarious. I completely forgot about this one. And then an actor in the movies
from Rabid, yeah.
Yes, he says, I didn't even see this. This is a guy named Theory. Here, I'm gonna put the link in the comments if you want to see yourself. This guy responds underneath. I totally forgot, and I responded to him too.
So this is on your, by the way, just for anybody listening, this is on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, this is on my YouTube
Frumess.
channel. I just put it in the comments. He says, as an actor in the movies from James Desert, aka Johan whatever, I'm supporting his statement. And then I responded with the same thing. Oh my God, the same. I copy pasted. But I just love how two people from the actual thing were like so upset.
Me, sir.
The Rabid Grannies Nation does not approve.
Right. And if you see it, it's literally 14 seconds. It's just my Nana going, "Happy Halloween!" And then it cuts to a title card that says Rabid Grannies 2 The Revengeful.
Jesus
and
Christ.
That was I got in trouble.
So on here it's Rabid Grannies 2 Ravenshore. It's an in development only post on IMDb.
Oh, it's not out yet.
It says a James Desert film. Is that?
Yes, that's the same guy. That's what we said.
Guy?
Yeah, it's Belgian. He's a Belgian guy,
but
and that's James Desert.
The first one says it's directed by Emmanuel Curvin.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's a pseudonym.
Oh, okay.
But there's a teaser trailer for Rabid Grannies 2 Ravenshore on YouTube from 3 years ago from
Does
SGL
YouTube recommend it
Entertainment.
after your video?
This guy's IMDb page, he directed and wrote Rabid Grannies, and the only other credit is he played Kurt Sloan in Kickboxer 2.
Nice.
He had 3 credits.
Yo, Rabid Grannies is fucking awesome, though. Have you ever seen Rabid Grannies?
No, I haven't. I sadly haven't. It's a trauma movie now.
Bro, you guys have never seen Rabid Grannies, either one of you?
No.
Nope.
Okay, first of all, it's
Should we
free.
stop this and go watch
Channel 101.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
I don't know if it's legally on YouTube or if it's
it's
not
owned by,
authorized.
It's released by Troma now.
I want to say real fast.
It's always been a trauma movie. That's when I saw it was a trauma movie.
No, he's saying it. No, he's saying Troma now, like the app or the website.
Oh, okay. Well, you can watch it for free on YouTube. I'm not saying that you should, because
don't listen to Jeff, guys. Everybody listening right now, go spend $5 to sign up for Troma now, so you can watch Rabid Grannies, and then fucking watch the Jerry Show, which is also available on Troma now.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And let me tell you something. If you ever wanted, can I spoil it? Can I spoil the Jerry Show?
Sure. It's 9 minutes long.
You know, if you ever want to see Hitler
Spoiled.
sucking a dick, if you ever want to see Hitler suck a big black dick, just go on, watch the Jerry Show on Troma Now. It's
Or just message me and
wonderful.
I'll send you the YouTube link.
Yeah,
I was going to
so
say,
you
is
can
it
furiously
is that the only
masturbate
place
to
it's
it.
available?
It's on, like, I don't know if I have it unlisted or not, but
I'm
it is
sure
on
you do.
YouTube. It's probably
So,
unlisted.
Ed and his dead mother. Now that we've
Oh
warmed
yeah,
up for
we
an
spent
hour,
an hour talking about rabid grannies and. No,
I have a lot of notes. I took a lot of notes
some
for this thing.
I took some notes of some lines I really liked.
I didn't take any notes.
This is a horny fucking movie.
It's very
It's so horny.
This is such a horny movie. I don't know what I was expecting. I remembered very few of the details.
And
like,
she is so
twist of her.
fucking fine.
Dude.
Pardon my French. She's so fine. She's a beautiful, just illustrious creature. Just
But
gorgeous.
But something
gorgeous,
is
gorgeous.
clearly wrong with her though, because 5 years
Yeah.
after this movie, she married Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
She is the wife of Kevin Sorbo.
We're
Not
talking about-
vaccinated.
We're talking about a woman who plays a character in here named Storm.
But she's a goddess. She's a goddess
Her real
in this
name
movie.
she now goes by, I don't remember what her last name was at the time the movie was made, but she now goes by Sam Sorbo. Like she's not even
That sounds so Sam Sorbo.
Sam Sorbo. It's such a fall. Like
What disease do you have? Oh, I got some Sam Sorbo.
Sam Sorbo. So what's the okay? Edna's dead mother.
I
A
think
lot of it was practically new to me. It was basically new to me.
out of the three of us, I believe I've seen it the most recent, which I
Mhm.
saw like the end of the aughts. So
Okay.
That's the I remember
End of the aughts was
Yeah.
probably I bought it on DVD.
For
I had
this?
it, no. I had a copy of it on DVD. It was the last time I watched it. It was definitely the aughts. I don't know when,
Mhm.
but it was definitely the aughts. And like yeah. Sorry, go ahead. What were you gonna say, Bob?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
what you
saying
said.
that. I was
That's
saying
what
I
Bob
think
was saying.
I probably saw it the most. I have the most recent memory of it out of the three
Yeah.
of us.
So this is okay. We start with a black and white flash forward, which is odd.
Totally
Yeah,
unnecessary.
Completely. You know, I want to talk about this real fast. I've complained about this before. Why do so many movies? And I used to think
Crime Wave too.
Did it? I haven't.
Yeah,
haven't
Crime
seen
Wave did that.
Wave.
Great.
There's so many fucking movies that like feel like they can't just tell a story, that they have to frame it, right? I don't want to get too far into it because I think Saving Private Ryan is really close to a capital G great movie, but the bookends on it are
I don't mind those.
no,
that works for me.
I hate them so much. I hate them
Yeah,
so
I feel like
much.
Jeff, but you know that.
Oh yeah. You
Also,
guys don't
Saving
hate
Private
anything.
Ryan is a sequel to the movie Overlord. Just so we're all aware. Just
I haven't
want
seen Overlord.
everybody
That's
to
the
know.
zombies?
I'm not agreeing to that.
No. Bob, it's true. Stop.
Search your
Stop.
feelings, Bob.
I mean,
Wow.
My Blue Heaven is a sequel to Goodfellas, so yeah.
It is.
okay.
It is. And I
It totally is.
love that.
No, I'm
Yes,
thinking-
My
The
Blue
Steve
Heaven
Martin
is a
comedy.
motherfucking sequel to
It's a sequel.
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
No, I
Steve
was
Martin
I was thinking
is
of
Ray
LA
Liotta.
Story at first.
Yeah.
But
I love My Blue Heaven.
I love
it.
LA Story. I
So-
want to watch LA Story again.
You know, you guys all know Sean Jones, right? That's his favorite.
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. Ever since I met him, he always.
My Blue Heaven?
Yeah. No. L.A. Story.
Oh, LA Story. LA
That's
Story
like
is
one
great.
of the things we bonded over.
Dude, we got okay.
Why is the
What I was gonna
title?
say-
Why is the title in red, white, and blue?
Uh,
There's
Hold on.
there's a flag.
I was going to talk about that for one
Okay.
because I don't understand that. But what I was going to say to Steven is one of the things that I thought about was the fact that this movie did not remotely need the bookends.
No,
Or
it didn't need the bookends at all.
Like the ending could have just been normally presented, and the
Right.
beginning.
And why
I guess
black and white? Like
the
why?
only thing I kind of don't like about this movie is the opening thing with his lawyer talking about a virgin covered in honey, and I'm like, what does that
With
have
the
to do-
Perky nipples, like yeah.
there's some odd stuff in this movie where I was like, why
It's
is
a
that
horny
there? But
movie.
It's a horny movie, but I think that everything actually does have a point. in this movie. Like I was trying to put together the setups and payoffs. Even the fucking priest who wanted to kill his wife, I was like, why is that?
Oh my God, that was so good.
But the payoff for that does actually work.
Yeah,
it was functional to the story.
One scene.
But
there was
the virgin joke. I was like, I couldn't find anything for that.
Uncle Florida, the guy who came up from Florida for one scene. I didn't really see a point to that scene.
That they needed somebody to kill, I think.
They didn't kill anybody.
No. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so here's one thing that I want to put out there as we talk about this movie.
This
movie,
two things. It's fucking weird. That's
three things. Thing number one, they're super quick, I promise. Thing number one, this movie is PG-13, despite having breast shot. PG-13 movie.
It's like a 2-frame nipple shot.
It's crazy for a PG-13 movie. No PG-13 movie has a nipple in it.
Not in 1993. It wasn't crazy.
Especially not 1993. Number two, this movie only played in one movie theater and pretty much went straight to direct to video, as well as I think for TV, which brings me to point number three. This movie was clear. It had a budget of $1.8 million. It was clearly made for TV. And the reason why every time there's some serious gore, and here's the thing, I checked the credits too.
They cut away.
They fade away. I checked the credits. Do you know who worked on this movie? K&B.
K&B, yeah.
K&B. So if K&B worked on this movie and there's no gore in it, you have to imagine that it was cut out. I think this movie, that was my third point. My third point is this movie is heavily edited.
Yeah. There's a cut out there that's probably like Steve Buscemi's Reanimator that exists. And it's just, we're not ever going to see it.
I'm going to back up for a second.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone on this podcast knows what K&B is. But for the people who are listening who maybe don't know, why don't you explain it to them?
It's a special effects production house.
Oh.
With
what famous things have they done?
Everything. Like literally everything.
The Thing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They did K&B did Evil Dead 2. They did From Dusk Till Dawn. They did, I mean, literally any movie. Just name a movie that has like gore in it.
American Werewolf in London.
That is
no.
Because...
That Bob, that's neither one of those was them.
Baker. Yeah,
they didn't start until 1987. Now the guy who's in there, the rock star, the what's his face? Romero's disciple. What's his name?
Tom Savini.
Oh, no, not Tom Savini. Tom Savini's disciple. Greg
Nicotero.
Nicotero.
Greg Nicotero, thank you. Greg Nicotero, he's sort of founder. He's like the leader of K&B. You have Howard Berger and who's the third guy? Robert Kurtzman, who wrote, by the way, who wrote the story for From Dusk Till Dawn and was planning on directing it, and Joe Plato, that the dude who plays Captain Rhodes in Day of the Dead was going to be Seth Gecko, aka George Clooney, in that version. Those guys did the special effects in this movie. They got their start on Evil Dead 2.
That means that there must be, like Bob just said, there must be Steve Buscemi's Reanimator version of this, because there's nothing on screen. You see nothing.
I mean, he when he goes to cut his mom's head off, Jeff's right. It's like it's like a fucking TV cut.
Yeah,
it's totally. We don't the cut. The only cut I've ever seen of this movie is this version. This heavily edited version.
Is that where the bookends came in? Just because like they lost so much running time?
They lost so much run time, they had to re-edit it like that.
Well, it's exactly 90 minutes long.
You know
like,
what?
On the nose.
You know what? You're actually really probably right, because if I'm thinking about it, editing wise, all that stuff could be easily placed in chronologically, and you can obviously make anything black and white, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like that could have just been an editing decision. It was nothing.
I wonder whether
here's the other
Uncle from Florida scene is also padding, because like it was fluff.
Well, I'll tell you what.
She didn't kill the dog.
It's not fluff, Stephen. I don't think it's fluff. No, it's not fluff. It's that there's so much was cut out that scene probably
it's
fluff now. It probably like there was a whole thing with the dog. You see how he jumps in slow motion to get the dog. That was probably some whole. That was probably some whole elaborate scene that was truncated for running time or for gore purposes. That was a whole gag. There was a whole gag about finding. Yeah,
but you know that there is a mold of her head somewhere in a trash
Yeah.
can that was
Yeah.
supposed to have a dog corpse go through her mouth
Yep.
in a close-up shot.
I
Had to have existed, and
something
they got
like
rid
that.
of it.
Yeah, and Steve
You know what I
Buscemi's
mean?
pulling the dog out of her mouth. You
Yeah.
know, like totally, which actually happens also. This movie shares so much DNA with Dead Alive, from the uncle to the mother to the mama's boy dynamic to literally, your mother ate my dog. Like it's literally in this film. Here's another interesting point. We're jumping to the very end for a second. When the mom is begging Ed not to chop her head off with a chainsaw, she says something, and you may have missed it. She says it was her. She was the one who gave who overdosed me with the roaches.
Yeah, so
she just ate all the roaches.
Let's set the rules up here. Because we talked, it's let's just kind of so we have a little framework for the conversation here, right? Ed is a guy who's owns a hardware store.
A family-owned
hardware store. At the moment the movie starts, his mom is already dead. All right? And ignoring the flashback part or the flash forward part with the lawyer and the drippy virgin nipples. Like, yeah, it's fucking weird, man.
It's weird. It's just it's a joke that has no place with the rest of the movie.
It's for reference, it's like an 80-year-old wizened shrimp of a dude.
Talk about the tone as well in
this talking
about this. What is the tone?
It's horny. It's fucking horny. This is an incredibly horny.
No. It's not horny. It's dry.
I mean, is it? I don't know. I dried it.
No, I can see that. There's a lot of dryness in the movie, but
the humor is super dry. And you know what else? The word I would use for this movie, big time, in terms of like the surreal aspects. Yeah. This movie is actually quite Kafka-esque.
Okay.
In the sense that
that's a little heady for this movie, I think.
No. I don't think it is. Here's why. Because you have these super fantastical elements that are treated so mundanely as if they are part of everyday life, which is very much
but there's
Kafka's metamorphosis. He wakes up one day and he's just a roach.
Yeah,
you know what movie this reminds me of? The movie this reminds me of most, or that in my mind I place it with, is My Boyfriend's Back.
Yeah.
If you guys have seen that, because and now that's more of a spoof movie.
You're right.
My Boyfriend's Back is more of a spoof movie, but
even that's not as horny as this one, and she gets
that's not right. Like they eat there's like a vor in that almost. Right. But like
this is now going to be a vor podcast. From
it's
now
a vor
on.
podcast.
We're only going to watch vor movies.
Yeah. But there's this thing where they're dealing with these fantastical elements, and everyone acts like it's no big deal. They're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Once they find out, like. Even Ned Beatty's character is completely like not that phased. Like he's like kind of freaked out, but he's like
eating his cereal. Right.
This makes it dry. Whatever. This is dry and Kafka-esque. That's why I'm saying it's dry because of those elements.
The dry elements are also,
but it's also wet,
sitting next to some really goofy cartoonish stuff too.
Yeah,
on occasion.
Well, the mom takes. It's so funny because it goes from being super dry to when we introduce the mom. She's a living cartoon character. Yeah, she's just absolutely cartoonish in every aspect.
You want to talk about the plot?
I want to say, because the premise, this isn't like your fancy podcast with your famous internet movie writer person Bob. Like, it is not assumed
that at all.
it is not assumed that my listeners have seen this movie. So I just want to say lay a base of framework here, right? So this John Glover shows up at Ed's house, played by Steve Buscemi. Shows up to Ed actually at work and offers to bring his mom back from the dead, not back to life, but back from the dead.
Because he belongs to the Happy People Corporation. Because
he belongs to the Happy People Corporation.
Which is a terrifying name.
Yes.
That is the most terrifying.
The rules for bringing somebody back, because it's and by the way, I really want to talk about the alternate version of this movie that I want to see. That's
me too. I can't wait to talk about that.
Don't get to that. Don't get to that.
Okay, so the premise. So he brings Ed's mom back. And the first night,
it's important to say we don't see the house.
We don't see the process. Anything. No, in fact, there's a funny trunk scene that I kind of like. Yeah.
Did you notice that they did
that's
the
best
Tarantino
scene.
Trunk shot?
Yes, and you want to know something? That is literally like the dialogue and the way that they do that scene. It's almost masterful, and I'll tell you why. It starts off as the trunk shot, but then the way that they are, we never see a dead body once, and it's the most disgusting scene in the world.
We see a little bit of goo on a pencil.
That's it.
Yeah.
The brain goo.
Yeah, the brain.
But it's the words.
Also,
you know what it is? The words are so juicy. The descriptors, the way they talk about how she's missing all of her guts, and how are you going to find a kidney for a 1937 female? Like it's a car.
He's talking like a car salesman is amazing. Yeah.
No, it's a great scene. It's a great little scene. But so when mom is back, mom finally comes back. The rules are like.
Wait, are you really brushing over the corporation that much? Or are we going to go back and talk about the corporation?
We were talking about something, and you talked about the overdose. I just want to lay the goddamn ground. What the fuck does overdose mean?
Yeah.
So, John Glover, like the first night, mom passes out and collapses on the floor. So Ed calls the sales guy, and he's like, what the hell's going on? He's like, oh, she needs more life. And he says, I got this box of life. I'll sell you this box of life for $350. The life kit. A kit, yeah.
Which I always was like, it's not really a kit. It has
what a
one
fucking
thing.
grift.
It's a box.
What a fucking grift.
Yeah, no, that's the point. It turns out that life, quote unquote, that she needs, it's cockroaches. Like it's living things. He says. He tells
you guys
her,
get annoyed that he doesn't get more mad at the money he spent on that.
Yeah, he should get so much mad.
Well, I hate Ed. I like legitimately
Ed
hate
sucks.
Ed. He's like the worst person alive.
When you said overdose, the thing is, the sales guy tells Ed, give her 2 cockroaches a night, and that's it. That's it. Otherwise, don't give her any more, she'll go nuts.
Right.
So
he doesn't say that. No, he does not say she'll go nuts.
He says no more, no less.
No more, no less.
It's the worst version of show, don't tell. We need a little tell. We needed a little bit of tell.
Yeah, because then one night, Ed's mom doesn't sleep. She goes nuts.
Yeah, she bakes pies.
And she bakes 1,000 pies, and she cleans the house.
Makes
a dress, and like she's all geeked up, and she looks coked to the gills.
Dancing on her bed.
So the overdose thing you're talking about, once we find out, huge spoiler alert, once we find out that the hot chick across the street is a double agent.
Right.
Mom tells Ed that Storm, the hot lady, is the one who overdosed her on life.
Right. But what are we missing? What are we missing?
We're missing like whose life it was. Like, was it the dog?
No.
Neighborhood dog? Was it?
The life. We need to see her do it.
Oh yeah, we need to see. Yeah, we need to know.
We needed to see her do it.
We needed to see her eat a whole dog and then get geeked up.
No.
Or whatever.
I mean,
you mean to see Storm give her the extra.
Because that sets. No, I'll tell you why. Because that line at the end is a payoff line. It's not a reveal line. It's a payoff in the sense of this.
No, I disagree. I think it is a payoff.
But do you know what I mean?
But it's a payoff for. So there's one scene where Ed goes over to Storm's house.
That's the find out, Steven. That's the find out line.
No. Wait, hang on. So he sees Storm come out of his own house.
Probably that's what was happening.
That's what I'm saying.
You just nailed it. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yes, Steven. Yes.
So, yeah. He sees her come out of his own house, and we don't find out why ever explicitly. But later, Mom says, "Oh, she's the one who overdosed me." So that's what I did.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so it is there. It's just so covert. Here's what I mean, though. In movies, movie conventions, good or bad, cliche, good or bad, doesn't matter. Yeah, conventions of movies where someone does something to another character without them knowing, and later on, that character's going to find out, and we, the audience, are strung along by the need or the anticipation of that other person finding out. And that's what I meant. That moment was a find out moment, and we never saw the betrayal, the whatever.
She's always ahead of the audience. Storm is.
She's always ahead of the audience.
Storm knows exactly what's happening the whole time.
And they chose to tell us. They chose to tell us when we see her with Glover, the salesman. But which is good, but it would have been cool to see her overdose the mom. If she wasn't a
double agent, it would also be, I don't know what that would mean for the movie if she wasn't a double agent, because it was like, how did it all happen? And also, why the hell, you kind of alluded to it earlier, why the hell would she be so into him?
She's just so into him.
I can believe that she fell for him because, I can. Well, no, I can believe it because people fall for weird shit. But there's no way the initial thing is happening.
Right. So here's here's how they get set up.
Happening.
I was complaining about this in a group thread we're in earlier today because I was complaining while I was watching.
But you didn't get to the twist yet.
No.
Right?
Well, let me tell you what I think about that.
When I saw you say it, I thought of it. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, except I was gonna come back. Like when I was almost done, I was gonna come back and say, "Oh, I guess I was wrong." But then the movie ended, and I was like, "No, this is still bullshit." And I'll tell you why. I'll take you on my journey. Here's my journey. All right. In the movie, Ed's uncle Ned Beatty, Uncle Benny, played by Ned Beatty, is a fucking old horn dog who has been lasciviously peeping on this hot neighbor with a telescope.
Right.
So at one point, she does a little strip for the telescope.
Right.
Anyway, so she comes over to the house one night. She comes over to Ed's house, all dressed up in her sexy outfit, and she says, in this is not a direct quote. She says, "Listen, I know you've been watching me through your telescope. I think that's super hot. I want you to fuck me right now."
Oh my God.
Which also, look, some people will be into that.
And she's so gorgeous.
Like he's,
oh my God.
Like, I'm just saying, some people are into that kind of shit.
Okay, but this is like, you're talking about a movie written and directed by men, and
sure,
like it's not.
Well, this part doesn't matter because she's an agent, so.
No,
yeah.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Is like for me, when I started watching this, I was like, okay, fuck. It's one of those 80s, early 90s movies where the schlub gets the super hot chick for no discernible reason. Sure. I hate this. This makes me mad. And so she keeps throwing herself at him over and over and over. And then we find out later that she's a double agent. And I'm like, she was hired by John Glover, by the salesman, to help him keep milking inheritance money out of Ed, right?
Right.
So at that point is when you're telling me that I should have been like, oh, okay, it's acceptable. Okay, fine. But then we get to the very end of the movie, right? And she's like, oh, Ed, no, I really actually fell in love with you. And I quit my job.
We never see her fall in love.
She says, "You're the most." I wrote it down. She says, "Fuck." I had it.
The kindest.
No, you're the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me, and I blew it. And I'm like, "Fuck you."
Well, number one, like, did you really blow it? I mean,
like seriously,
everybody else's fault. Number two, though, I think it's in another cut. It has to be. I think that they had more scenes or something where he maybe more scenes. I think like him saving her might even be a bigger deal.
There's a 2-hour cut of this movie, and it's probably really fucking good. To be honest with you, it's probably really good. But here's the thing:
just more fleshed out.
More fleshed out,
like literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
But here's one thing that is this is really important to say about this is really important to note. The cut as itself, apart from a few things that are kind of maybe like seem like they're missing, it's actually a really tight, concise edit that really moves the story forward and really just sort of, it works. It doesn't not work. It's not it's not like
works,
this,
but it feels lacking. It does feel
like
lacking.
that. I
feels
still
lacking,
feel like
but
the Florida uncle is just fat. Like it doesn't do anything.
You could probably cut. I
could have cut that. You could have cut that.
It's cut to shit. I think saying it's cut to shit is fair. I didn't really notice when I was a kid or when I was younger.
No, I never
noticed.
Never noticed.
But now you're right. I'm like, this should be like a fucking hardcore bloody movie.
Yeah, where's the?
And it's just not there. It's just
and probably more people died. Mm-hmm. You probably saw the remains of Robert who gets eaten.
Yeah. So there are some. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this real fast. I think there are a bunch of character actors in this movie who are great. We have Ned Beatty as the uncle. We have John Grease as Rob, the sketchy thief who's out of prison.
Uncle Rico for people.
Uncle Rico, right.
Yeah.
We have Gary Farmer playing Big Larry from the
Gary
shop.
Farmer's awesome.
Goddamn delight. I love him.
The Rance Howard is the priest.
Right.
Yeah.
The one
lots
character,
of actors.
And I don't want to blame the actor, but there's one character actor in this movie who I don't think is doing that spectacular job, and I think it's Ed. I mean, it's Steve Buscemi. I don't think Ed is a very interesting character.
I agree.
You said earlier, Jeff.
He's the least interesting in his own movie.
He certainly is. Like, I feel like Steve Buscemi's kind of wasted on this role.
He is. It's not. You know what? I think
it's not his
could have been more.
No, I said I don't blame him.
I blame the director. It could have been more interesting, and I feel like the director was probably just like all good. Moving on, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I watched through the credits all the way to the end just for anything interesting to stand out.
Might be Giants song at the end.
Right. And then after that, They Might Be Giants, there's another song. It's the theme song for the Happy Life Corporation.
Yes, it's delightful. Oh, John Glover. I didn't mention in my list of character actors. I forgot to mention John Glover.
Oh, he's so good. Wait, real quick about the end credits.
Oh, yeah.
It says the character's name, Robert, whatever his face.
Yeah.
It says dead but not forgotten, and I'm
Rob
like,
Sunderberg.
Yeah, Rob Sunderberg. Why is that said? And that was very interesting to me. Just wanted to point that out.
So I was gonna say, if I had to make a change casting wise, I know you said you don't like John Grease's character being in there.
Oh, it's so good.
I think
what? Who said that?
Loved it. I loved it.
John Grease.
He's like the best part.
I thought you said
of this movie.
I thought you said that was excess.
No, I'm the uncle from Florida.
Oh, the uncle from Florida thing.
Yeah, that was a waste of time.
You know why that wouldn't be excess is if the dog thing actually went.
If it paid off.
Right, if there was a gag.
Yeah.
If there was a gag.
But no, I was going to say, like, I'd almost switch those John Grease and Steve Buscemi. Think about it for a second. Steve Buscemi as that character, I could totally see. And I could see John Grease actually being like the mama's boy and playing it off a bit better than Steve Buscemi would have.
No, I think you have a good thing there, but I think it would be a tragedy to lose because John Grease does this great.
He's great at slime. He's great at
bound, slime. like tightly bound energy that breaks out once.
Yeah. It just breaks out out of nowhere. Like when he throws, when he throws that
box or whatever. Yeah.
No, even before the box,
but
the fucking Skittles.
But he can do gentle too. Think a real genius. Like there's a gentleness to him and stuff. Like he can do that. I think he could pull it off with the right direction.
I maybe we put him in both roles.
That would be interesting.
You're gonna up. They couldn't afford that type of filming, but yeah, Either way, Steve Buscemi kind of just looks like surprised through the whole movie.
He's surprised. This character is so clueless. Everything surprised him. Even when the police show up at the very end. And Steve Buscemi is surprised. It's like, dude, you just cut up your fucking mother, and you're surprised at the all the shit, the trail of carnage, the trail of carnage. You're not expecting the police to fucking
door, knowing the headless corpse was
even before that, Steven, even before that, just the fact that the cops show up, he's like, the cops showed up. It's only fucking midnight, and you just fucking.
I've been out here for an hour arguing with my headless mother.
What the fuck, man?
He's so uncurious to everything, and I don't mean that in the comedy perspective. It's just like very astute observation.
Yeah.
He has no care of what's going on. Like he doesn't ask John Glover nearly the right questions at all.
No. Right?
It's just like, oh, mother can come back. Here's have her back by this time tomorrow. And I'm like,
are we
acting like this is fucking normal? It's not funny. It's just weird now.
Is he not? He's the best part of the movie. He's the best part of the movie.
With John Glover? Yeah,
absolutely. The best. Sorry, what were you going to say, Steven?
I got to try to remember because I want to talk about something Bob just said about time. But first, before I say that, I want to say another thing that I totally remember right now and haven't. Fuck it. Okay, I'll talk about time. For some reason, it seems like. Oh, yeah, I just remembered. Fuck. Sorry. Anyway, there's a scene where this is late in the movie. Ned or Uncle Benny has a gun and he's like, Ed, you have to shoot your mom.
I love that scene.
And
I love the way he handles the gun.
Ed's like, I can't do it. You have to do it. So Benny goes in the other room and shoots his mom. But here's the thing. We get one long unbroken take of Ed's face while we hear Benny shooting mom.
His mom.
And I have to say, as much as I love Steve Buscemi, and I'm with you, Bob. I think it's the director, or Jeff. I think it's the director's fault. I would love to hear what the director was saying during the shot. But as much as I love Steve Buscemi, the ridiculousness of his facial expressions during this one long unbroken take should be a world famous GIF right now. Like it's so silly. The kind of I'm on video right now, so sorry, podcasters, but it's like he's like,
yeah. To be fair, too,
it just gets
early.
bigger and bigger.
This was early in Steve Buscemi's career.
I guess this is early
too.
in his career. Yeah, for sure.
Know? I mean,
so I don't blame him, but like it was such a ridiculous.
No, it's not his fault.
But anyway, yes.
Also, that's another thing. Like, if it's the movie that the three of us kind of wished it was, I think we would have seen Ned Beatty shooting a woman in the back.
Yes, that's
actively.
Yeah,
that's what I would have
seen.
K&B,
you're telling me K&B did not do those effects, and then we just see her with bullet holes.
You see it with
after
holes in
the
her
fact.
dress.
Smoke,
yeah. Smoke.
I mean,
like dry bullet holes.
It's just all like it's edging.
Yeah, it's
off. Just never there. You know,
it's edging is the perfect way to describe it. I also two other things you mentioned shots, and something that again this might have to do with the editing. There's a lot of economy. There's a lot of master shots. There's a lot of like medium wides, like just sort of like taking in all the action, which I actually enjoy. I'm a big fan of like the acting, the unbroken acting in a scene. Like I don't like lots of cuts. Even I don't know. I just like that sort of that. I like that style of shooting. I think it's really great when you can pull it off. Dan O'Bannon does a fantastic job of doing that in Return of the Living Dead. There are all these great unbroken shots. There's one in this one in particular that is absolutely a masterful shot. It's when he's shooting pool and Steve Buscemi walks in. And it's a profile shot of John Glover, and he's in focus. Yeah, they dolly to the left. They rack focus. It's a beautifully designed shot, and along with the red lighting. It's in. Thank you. When you do wide, it's really medium shots. It's not wide shots. It doesn't work as well. Wides work too. Medium shots in camera editing with medium shots is like my favorite thing in the world. Like just something that's so pleasing where you set something up in a very unique yet organic way. So it's not like Breaking Bad was really good at that. Breaking Bad would always have these really interesting shots.
You mentioned Saving Private Ryan. I mean, Spielberg, if you watch like most Spielberg movies, like he can edit in camera better than most people. Like that's what he
freaking
does
awesome.
Well.
Love it.
I know it's exactly what you're saying with that shot. Like you'll have 3 or 4 different frames without actually cutting.
Oh my God. That to me is like, that's like, that gives me a cinematic boner. Like I see that shit and it like makes me want to go out and like make movies.
Well,
like,
okay. So
I love it.
Talking about that scene, the thing that freaks me out, cause I said the Happy People Corporation.
That's a good scene.
So
that is a really
ominous.
Good scene.
And what freaks me out is in that scene when he tells Ed how to actually get rid of his mom, I'm like, wait a minute.
It's
not
this has happened.
But it's not science that's doing this.
It's necromancy.
Like, it's necromancy. Like, oh, wait a minute.
You got to put her head in the northwest corner.
Yep.
And you got to put the body in the southeast corner.
Which he doesn't do.
He doesn't
totally fucks up.
He fucks up. But I was going to say what freaked me out is the fact that we're learning something like that.
Right.
Because up until that moment, I'm assuming it's some sort of fucking cloning.
That's good writing.
Bullshit or something. I'm like, no, wait a minute. This corporation is using
summoning,
magic?
No, but it's techno. It's techno necromancy because it uses software. They use software. They're using software, Bob.
When does he say that?
When we go to the Happy People Corporation, which I totally forgot about. I totally forgot that scene.
It's true.
Go to the Happy Corporation, and the guy, he's like, first of all, that's how they find you. It's just like any other corporation. They have like a list of leads. It's leads. It's leads. Here's a lead.
The leads are weak. The fucking leads are weak.
And we're gonna hit you at your heartstrings and make you give us all this money so that you could see your dead loved one again. But what he says is, he says Japan is already working on their version, and then he said some other country, they already have a take-home software. And what's so cool about this, all of the exposition in this film
works with like the afterlife,
right? But what's so cool about writing like this is that once again, it captures your imagination. It allows you to creatively try to connect the dots of like what this could possibly be. And it's like, and it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. Like their whole business is terrifying.
There's like Cabin in the Woods. Like I remember seeing Cabin in the Woods and thinking about this movie a little bit because of John Glover and the company. Like when you showed the scenes of the Office guys and Cabin in the Woods and stuff, it made me think of John Glover, you know?
Yeah, and they're doing the betting.
This scene where we get to see the Happy People Corporation is what inspired my version, like the version of this movie that I want to see. And Jeff, we mentioned it before. I want to see if you're on the same page as me. But so John Glover, when he's in town with Steve Buscemi, he's slick and he's got his routine down and he knows all the beats. He knows what Ed's going to say. He knows how to. Then he goes back to his work. Yeah, and he's getting like he's flustered. And he's getting kind of beat up by his boss. And he's like, you need to go back there and fucking milk him for all this money. We need 50 grand out of him or else you're done. So the version of the movie that I want to see, and it's not a direct remake or a direct companion piece because I think the tone would have to be a little different. But I want to see this story from the salesman's perspective.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
The salesman with
sure.
This thing.
Sure. Like literally death. Salesman of death. Salesman of death.
Salesman of death.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to tell you,
life
first
of
all,
a salesman.
There's literally life of a salesman would work actually.
Life of a life salesman.
No. But you want to know something? There is literally about 1,000 ways to remake this film in like a really, really good way, and that is one of them. The point of view of the company, and even more so, leave everything mysterious, but just tell it from that point of view. It would just be great. It would be really great.
Just total side note, by the way, when John Glover is telling Ed how to deal with mom, I kind of wondered, and I can still kind of hold on to this. I'm gonna call it a little fan theory that I like to kick around, that he was just making all that shit up. That really, you just had to cut the head off the body and bury it.
Dude, you're so
giving him. Yeah, you're probably right.
I love. I fucking just to get the $50,000.
Just to get the 50 grand.
50,000.
Like, that's a big
Steven,
secret. Yeah.
Steven, you are.
To be fair,
you
though,
seriously are a fucking genius. I love that so much.
Wait, hold on. To be fair, though, her head didn't die.
Don't. Shh. Listen.
What do you mean?
Let him call me a genius. That's fine.
I mean, you can still be a genius.
I'll tell you why.
But her head didn't die. Her head didn't die.
No, it's not about
what did you
her
change
head
your background for?
I just felt like doing it. What does it bother you?
It came out of nowhere.
All right, so fine. I'll change it again. Sorry, Bob.
It's weird.
Bob.
It's weird.
You want to know something? In all honesty, what makes what makes
Corn is back.
Damn, Corn. It's gonna be lost on my listeners. Just know that Jeff is making me very mad right now.
But listen. What I love so much about what Steven said. All right, two things. One, even better than like trying to figure out like stuff. Even better than that is when you write something into the movie that works within the movie, and you just did that. You wrote to me, that's the reality. That's the honest truth. The truth of the matter is you can't kill them. You could just bury them and call it a day. And the proof of that is that he still has the body in the car.
Yeah.
And she doesn't come back, or at least, well, she might have, but like, I'd like to imagine that the reason why that's not a plot hole, it's that he was lying.
Yeah.
And you fucking you just nailed that
but
so
if
fucking
that's true,
well.
we can't ever have a sequel with her still walking the earth for 1,000 years.
Right, I thought about that.
But it's
like,
just
she's
it's
still
just
alive,
the image.
Technically, if that wasn't a lie.
It's just the image. You know what's funny? She even says, I have to spend all of eternity with worms digging through my skull. Right. Like, she knows it's bullshit. Even she knows it's bullshit. You know what I mean?
I think
my question is, if you push her into a wood chipper, I don't care if she's still alive. She's pretty ineffective at that point, right?
Yeah, but the question is, how miserable is she? Like, I'm thinking about.
Who gives a shit? She's fucking dead.
She's fucking dead. I think maybe the deal is, and I'm just thinking as I talk out loud right now. I think maybe the deal is that at the point that the movie ended for us, she was still super geeked up on like killing John Grease. Spoiler.
Or she still has life in her, and eventually when that life runs out.
So what was interesting to me is that her head is cut off and her head is talking. Her body during all this is just lifeless. And I was thinking about maybe death becomes her, sort of, where like the damage, like you can get, you're alive again, but damage is damage, you know? And now
not alive, reanimated.
Right. Reanimated. And if like, I'm thinking maybe if you had cut mom's arm off, it wouldn't roll around on the ground.
Which is more terrifying. Which is so terrifying. The
Mm-hmm.
idea that you are like either rotting or that like if something happens to you, it's permanent and you remain conscious. Like that's so terrifying.
Would it work with a slush? I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you liquefy somebody.
Well, yeah. I mean, which part? Like which?
Yeah, she'd be gone. She'd be gone.
Molecule
liquefy her head
of the body holds the
brain molecules,
agency,
like
right?
Well, in return, again, to quote Return of the Living Dead, so there's like this thing in Return of the Living Dead, like this fan thing, where when those zombies eat brains, because they have the trioxin gas in their stomachs, like it's all throughout their body, the brain matter reanimates in the stomach of the dead person conscious. Which it probably is terrifying to be in a dead person's
universe.
This is like like this guy who's like a scientist or something, or like trying to approach it from like a scientific perspective.
I don't know if that applies to Ed and his dead mother.
No, of course not. I'm just saying, like you're talking about the sentience of molecules if you in the slush, if it's possible.
The difference too is that was a toxin. We're talking about, obviously, like you said, techromancy or necromancy or some shit. Techromancy. I gotta imagine that whoever is controlling that forces of the universe is like, all right, this body is slushed. It's over. Let's remove the soul. It's nothing left. Like, what do you?
So now, because you just said techromancy, and now I want to see not a feature, maybe not even a 30-minute, but just like
that's a word that I didn't make up, by the way.
Okay.
I didn't know if you guys. Okay.
Did I make up that word?
I mean, I have friends who say it all the time. So.
Okay, but I said it in this podcast, so I think I said it. I invented that just now.
The D&D podcast on my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who does all the video and audio, they call him the technomancer.
Okay, he obviously watched this podcast and copied us. So
they've been doing it for years.
Clearly,
yeah.
Shut up, Bob.
Yeah, Bob. Bob, stop.
So
they watched this show.
I don't want to see a whole
make a
feature,
movie called Technomancer.
But I would like to see a nice 11-minute short set in Happy People Corporation's tech support department.
I'll make it for the debacle. It'll be awful.
Sure.
It'll be truly terrible.
Oh my God, Bob, will you really do that? Because I would watch the shit out of that.
He's gonna get prompts. He should do it. Do it.
Has the prompt stopped me?
Like it could be a fucking one-person Zoom movie, right? Just like put up a background of an office and just fake some phone calls or whatever.
What is interesting though is
Jeff made a feature. He should do it.
You gonna make another feature, Jeff?
I'm gonna make a trilogy of features. That's the plan. I'm gonna do a whole
make
trilogy.
3 movies in one.
No,
hours?
I literally thought about like how could I top myself? I have to make a trilogy. That's what I have to do.
Then
I don't know how.
It's gonna be a trilogy of
I don't know
of Warhol movies where it's like the first one is him sleeping for 8 hours, and the second one is
actually that exists. Yes, Bob, you remember.
I've seen it.
No, Steve. There is Steven. Steve. Sorry. I'm
Fine.
sorry,
Bob.
I didn't mean to do that. My brother's name is Steve. My friends
always get more mad about it than I do.
Can I call you Stefan?
Steven.
All right. Are now. I'm kicking you out of the Zoom.
Can I just call you Fen?
Can I call you Fen?
Oh my God.
Can I call you Fen?
No.
Oh.
See,
right.
I tried to ease your guilt there for a
second.
Yeah,
he's trying to he's trying to be so agreeable. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to this.
Jeff.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. Hey, yo, Fuff. Fuffy.
Fuffy.
Or actually,
my wife calls me Fifi.
Is your legal name Jeffrey? Can I call you Free?
It is Jeffrey.
Free.
You know, Bob, I don't appreciate that at all.
Call me Bert, I guess.
I'll just call you B.
I'm gonna call him Ob.
Ob.
What up, Ob?
Ob. Okay, I knew this guy named Bob Conlon, but he went by the name Bob Goblin, and it was awesome.
He should have gone by Knob
Bob
Goblin. But okay.
Knob Goblin, right?
Wait. I just want to go back to a second to Storm, who's like the goddess that is Storm.
Yeah.
It punches in at the end when she's about to get eaten by the lawnmower blades on her certificate. that says she's a microbiologist
from Oigevalt Medical University.
Oigevalt Medical
University.
Okay, Gevalt. That's obviously some sort of set deck, production design inside joke. But I think that there's some, just like with the preacher, that makes no sense that they have this running joke with this preacher with his bear trap. There's a running joke with her being a biologist. The reason they needed
that is so they had that's the reason the cops show up. That's the reason
that's
why that was there.
But there's probably some joke that was cut earlier where it's like, oh yeah, she's not smart. She's like an idiot or something. And then it shows that she's a microbiologist.
I'm just defending this. The reason that also works is because he goes into the hardware store and asks about something that kills people.
Cobalt blue.
And the guy, and the Gary Farmer, the guy who works there, already has a precedent of people coming in asking for weapons of destruction. So when the mom comes in to ask for a lawnmower, he's like, I guess
the triple payoff right there. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So that's why I said the priest seems like it's superfluous, but it has purpose.
There's a lot. So this movie has a lot of shit in it. It's a good movie.
I thought that Storm's medical degree, because it was like medical university, I thought that her medical degree...
Microbiologist, it said. Microbiologist.
Yeah, I thought it gave... And I guess I got it wrong. This is stupid now that I'm saying it out loud. I thought it gave credence to Mom's claim that Storm is the one who overdosed her, like she had been involved in from the behind the scenes. But that's not the case because John Glover just said he hired her to.
Yeah, she's a hired hand.
She's a prostitute.
She just happens to also be a microbiologist.
Right.
No, but that's clearly explained. No, there's clearly some sort of like ditz joke being made about her, and then it's the irony is that she's not a ditz at all.
Did you ever think she was stupid?
No, I did not. But I'm saying that joke, that was very clearly the punchline to some sort of joke about stupidity. I think, and it's getting paid off. You know,
I'm not disagreeing with you, and I don't think, I can't think of anything I saw in the movie that seemed like it was meant to communicate to me that she's dumb. Except that
so that joke, same, and that joke wouldn't really play if she doesn't seem dumb. In fact, her being a double agent makes her actually seem smart. Yeah, because she has the position of power.
It doesn't like.
It's weird. Her shit had to have been cut out. There has to be a ton of Storm shit that's cut out.
Yep, there is.
I feel like if this had gotten not that it would have, but like. If this had gotten a spin-off TV series set in the hardware store, she and Ed would not be romantically connected at that point. Like they both worked there, but maybe he would be pining for us. Yeah, the sitcom
version would be like his dead mother, because they always do that with shows in the 80s and 90s. They would just change the premise just enough. Like his mother would just work at the store, but the audience would know she's a dead zombie, and all the jokes would be about that, like a 3-camera sitcom.
But they would be a will they, won't they?
Right.
They would just be a will they, won't they.
It's like how Beetlejuice wasn't evil in the cartoon. He was just like Lydia's friend,
buddy, magical buddy.
The mom would just be like, "Oh no, go feed mom another dog."
Right.
It would be so bad.
It'd be terrible. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Oh no, mom ate a kid again.
God, man, I don't know what it just feels like so much is missing.
It does.
Not story-wise. There's a whole story here. I don't mean to sound like that.
It's a complete movie.
It's a complete movie, right?
But I think, like Jeff pointed out right at the beginning, the fact that the title is an American flag,
right?
I feel like whatever that symbolism was meant to have is gone from this cut. Because why?
Well, the store is also made up with
Americana.
4th of July. I think it's taking place on the 4th of July, maybe. Who knows?
But the way the title's presented on the shot it's presented, it just doesn't work.
Right. There's a thing about fireworks. There's a thing about fireworks as well.
I still don't think that title doesn't work the way it's presented as such.
Yeah. Ed and his dead mother. Maybe there's something about mom and
they should have hinged it on a 4th of July party or something.
Yeah.
They totally should have. Can we remake this? Can we remake this movie right now?
Yeah, sure we can. I mean, we're now
Come on.
If we ever,
I'm kidding.
If we ever remade this movie and then we got sued and in court we were like, oh no, it's just an original idea we came up with, then they would be like, actually, we have this podcast from May of 2022 where you premeditated your desire to rip us off. You know?
Right.
Real fast, Bob, you said earlier, you brought up, and this wasn't your point, you brought up the point where Steve Buscemi tells John Glover, get her back to me by midnight tomorrow night. And I think that is a novice screenwriter's mistake right there. So I was told in my classes, and I don't know whether this ever happened, this might have been the thing like the train where it turns out people didn't actually run out of the room when the train played back in the 1890s, you know?
Right,
Yeah,
the
it's
first film.
We just like thinking people are dumb from the past, right? So I don't know whether this is true, but I was told that the first time somebody like cut in a movie a travel scene, other people were saying, oh no, your audience is never going to understand that. Like this scene, he's in the hotel, and this scene, he's out on the ranch. You haven't put a travel scene in.
You have to show everything, yeah.
Right. That I don't know whether that actually happened, but that's what I've been told. Anyway, my point is, when I see in movies sometimes they will try to compress the timeline as much as possible, and I think that's a novice writer's mistake to try to account for every minute, even if it doesn't show on screen. They want to account for every minute that happens from the start of the story to the end of the story. So when Ed says get her back by midnight tomorrow night, then we know the next scene is the next day, and we're expecting this thing to happen. It doesn't have to be like that. You can let it breathe a little. Like there's no reason that you couldn't have one scene be 2 weeks after the last scene, you know? If there's no ticking clock, and there's not in this movie, right?
The ticking clock is after she starts going nuts. You have
after
to
she
stop
starts,
her.
right. But
right, you're on a merry-go-round that's getting faster and faster.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but at this early point in the movie, you know, there's no reason John Glover, happy people couldn't take a month to put her back together or whatever, you know? So this idea
I mean,
about
they're
him
performing, for what Ed's concerned, they're performing a literal miracle.
Right. So like you say,
know what I
like
mean?
Jen
Like, they
says-
could be
No, they are performing necromancy, and that's how you get that body to that place
It's
in
super
24
odd.
hours.
In that moment, Steven, when he says that, I'm like, dude, you're acting like you know how this shit works.
Right. Like
you have
you're
no
so-
fucking concept.
you know, what are you gonna do? You just said that, you know, you've been saying, like, it's been 10 minutes into the movie or whatever, the only defining trait we know about you is that you worship your mother. Are you not gonna go through with this if it takes more than a day? That's silly. Just
I think it
chill
was.
out.
What
it
else
was meant
is
to be
interesting?
The money
Yeah.
is apparently why. I think that's the motivation there.
Well,
but it doesn't play as
But
well.
it doesn't
like,
make any
doesn't-
sense. Like, why?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'll
yeah, but-
give you the
Yeah.
money, but you have to do it in a day.
Yeah, but here's what's
Why?
interesting is that he goes John Glover's character, and again, it's in that brilliant that brilliant back and
His
forth.
eyebrows,
He says
him.
it take. He goes. Do you know how long this is going to take? And blah blah blah. He goes on and on about the job that they have to do this. That it's no easy feat. And then Steve Buscemi, not understanding this process, not knowing anything, as you just said, says, "I need her by tomorrow night at midnight." And John Glover, without any protest to what everything he
okay.
just said, he just says, "Sure,
drive a
pal,
hard
whatever
bargain."
you want." Yeah, you drive a hard bargain,
Which
which goes
is
to show
great.
you it's instantaneous. Whatever it is, doesn't take that long. He was
Well,
just
no, it's-
lying.
Well, now that
he
we
was
know
lying.
that it's fucking magic, they just do a spell,
Right.
and it probably
Just-
brings her back to life in that
It's
way.
it's so terrifying to
It's
think
Pet
that they
Sematary,
literally
right?
have.
yeah.
They bury her in some consecrated ground on the thing, and she just pops up 12 hours later or something like that.
Yeah, but she was super decomposed, so they had to do something
They
to
do something.
like
She looks like she
reconstitute
was
her.
chopped into pieces, right? Because
You know
she
what I like?
donated a bunch of organs.
What I love about this movie is that the mom, unlike Pet Sematary, the mom is not inherently evil. She is a beast. that is
No,
working
she's
on
an
pure-
id.
She's
She's
an
id.
Yeah.
But,
Pure id.
Same thing as what I was
Pure
saying.
id.
Same thing as what I was saying. Basically, is she's working on her. She's not really aware completely. She's working completely on her hunger.
The best line.
You know,
the
like it's different than her being evil.
yeah,
she-
no,
She's not evil. She's
She
id.
says she's talking at one point to Ed and Uncle Benny, and she says, she's got that nice, happy mom face, and she's talking about making dinner. And she's like, "You poor fucks must be starved."
Yeah, the fucks. I remember that. She's British, by the way, and she delivers that
Mary
line.
Margolyes.
Yeah. She delivered that line. God bless her. She's 80 years old. She delivered that line so well. It just rolls right off the tongue. A couple of things that I have here in my notes I just wanted to tackle real quick. One, John Glover drinking a glass of milk.
Amazing. Like a dying man.
Just something.
Like, it's wild. Because
here's the thing.
Once again, he bring back that cinematic milk thing. Like it's always.
Right, with the mustache.
Wrong. It always feels wrong.
And it's so wrong. It's so wrong. And you know what's interesting too? It's like drinking milk and eating meat. Like eating a steak while drinking a glass of milk. There's something so wrong. It has nothing to do with kosher. It's just something so fucking wrong.
That was like
really.
I don't drink milk anymore. I don't drink milk anymore.
I don't drink milk anymore either. But
oat milk, baby. It's all about
dinner,
the oat milk.
Milk is what I drank at dinner as a kid. Like we weren't supposed to drink sodas and
But
I think you mean Oigavolt.
But what's so there's something about a character when they're drinking milk. Like if they're drinking a glass of milk, it informs something about the character.
Get Out and Glorious Bastards, two right there.
There you go. Another interesting thing that I have here. The cemetery reminded me of the cemetery I actually made in my film. It's the worst cemetery ever.
Oh.
It's
nice
like
plug you worked in there.
No, I swear I did not.
There's a microwave in the movie. You know what that microwave is?
Oh, stop
like the one that got fucked in your movie.
You want to know something? The cemetery at the end is so haphazardly. There's like a random cross.
Oh, it's a mess.
It's
yeah.
like it's
mess.
It's like an Ed Wood cemetery.
And I'm saying and I'm just saying that like I was looking at the cemetery and it looked like the cemetery I tried to make in my backyard. That's all I'm saying.
It's just funny. Like, his directions to bury him in the corners, I was like, man, the corners are like 20 feet apart.
But he didn't do it. He didn't follow the directions.
I'm like, if there's such a small cemetery, it's like not that big of a deal to just walk right over there and bury the head and then bury
the line. Okay, let's talk about the promise to never say goodbye for a minute, because it's actually. Really? I was going to say it's actually really like sad and like really sort of like sentimental.
I think a good parent, like so Ed doesn't want Ed.
No, it's a bad parent would say promise never to say goodbye.
A bad parent would say
he grows
that,
from it. Yeah, he grows from it.
So.
It's not a good. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying it's a sad thing, and I really love that. He says at the end, it starts to get really like it actually starts to get a little sad, and because the whole movie, as you said, mom isn't really aware she's dead, and it's never really acknowledged that she's died and come back. And it's like, but here's the interesting thing: as they're having this conversation, you almost get the sense that she actually knew that she was dead, and she's almost sort of terrified to even address it when they start acknowledging that she is in fact just a head and that she's dead.
She's like a 50s housewife that doesn't want to acknowledge her existence is like living hell.
Right. And he says he directly confronts, and it's like that stage of death of like acceptance. He confronts and acknowledges that she's died and tells her. And she knows it. He says, "Mom, you've died and you're gone." Like, and she says, he also says something that's really like touching. He says, "I'll never say goodbye in my heart," which actually almost had me a little verklempt, because I think that's so beautiful. Like, you never, that when you lose someone, that you never say goodbye in your heart, even if you have to say goodbye to them. And I actually it was actually quite, I don't know, it was quite an emotional moment in this story.
Sound like a heartless monster or something, but that just doesn't sound healthy to me,
What, to never say goodbye in your heart?
Yeah, like I think
is that not healthy? I think that's so. Well, it's like the idea of like, you always live on in my heart. I don't have to say goodbye to you. You're inside of me.
By heart,
I can
really
let go.
Brain. You let go, but it's not. It's a healthy form of remembering. It's not. That's basically what it
Right.
means.
That's what it is. Not saying goodbye in my heart. That's healthy.
Yeah,
not saying goodbye is
healthy.
unhealthy.
Should be in there. It's like almost.
I don't know.
You say I'm not saying goodbye in my heart. You live on in my heart, and when I think about you, he says it. He says, when I think about you, I'll think about what you would have said in response to the thing. And I'll tell you something. I will bring my personal experience into this, losing my grandmother recently, I was very close to, and who I had my whole fucking life. I had my grandmother for 35 years. It was like crazy she became a friend. She went from being my grandmother to my friend who I confided in and stuff. And when I lost her, that's kind of what I've experienced. That is what I'm trying to say is I've experienced that. And I experienced the sentimentalities that he's talking about. And there are times where I want to tell my grandmother something. And no, I'm not saying that. No, that's not like a fuck you. No, Steven, that's not a fuck you at all.
I know, I couldn't help it. This is funny because it was just like, you're giving a sincere thing after he said that. It was funny.
My point is that I guess I picked up on that from my personal experience in life where, or at least my limited experience with death in that, or with losing someone in that, like, yeah, it's true. You really do want to tell them something and they're not around. But you can imagine how they would have reacted. Sure. And it's like a small tonic to the ache of them not being there. And I think that's what he means when he says not saying goodbye in my heart. And I thought that was, as Bob said, it's healthy. It's a healthy detachment from someone who shuffles loose the mortal coil. And I think that it's actually a really poetic thing.
At the beginning.
Right. His is just to never say goodbye. Mother always says to do this, and mother always, as if she's still alive. Well, mother's gone now, and now you need to carry the torch and be your own man.
The movie is just a giant metaphor for how grief happens, right? I mean, you let the dead person that just died and the grief rule your life until it actually destroys it. I've seen that with several people. I've seen that. My grandfather went insane pretty much when my dad died. I mean, the metaphor here is just, what if he could bring him back? He would have said yes, and if my dad started eating dogs and shit, my grandfather would have been like, fuck, what did I do? I'm going to have to say goodbye in my heart because this is bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like the whole thing is like a sly metaphor for that in the most, crude way.
There's such a darker film.
I get what you're saying.
There's a darker film here, and it's the film where it's like you love someone so much that you bring them back. And what you're doing is selfish. It's a selfish act to bring someone back like that.
Yeah.
You bring them back, and then what you do, you bring them back, and not only are they can't help it. They're forced to commit these acts of horror that they don't want to. They're transformed into something that you never wanted them to be. A perfect example of a film that does this really, really well, and I hate saying this because it sounds really shocky, but the movie Return of the Living Dead Part 3 has a lot of really deep shit in it.
You're a fan of Return of the Living Dead, the series?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes, he is. He knows.
No, but in Return, no, I'm talking about Part 3 now. Bob. I'm talking about Part 3.
I know, Jeff. I'm just saying you've mentioned Return of the Living Dead during
this
podcast.
Twice. I did it twice, Bob.
It's been
Bob,
like
it's been twice. No, Bob. All right, 3 times. 3 times, Bob.
Do I hear 4?
I love it. I love Return of the Living Dead.
My point is, yeah, but Part 3, he brings his girlfriend back from the dead and she starts eating brains. And when he sees her eating brains and he sees what she becomes, there's this moment under the bridge. They're at the lowest part. They're literally living. They've gone from being a happy couple to now like existing in the sewers. And he says, stay away from me. You disgust me. And she goes, but you made me this way. You made me like this. And then she jumps off a bridge trying to end it all. And she can't because she can't die. And so it's like, he can't like accept that she's died. He brings her back. She becomes this thing that she doesn't want to be, that he doesn't want her to be. And it's because he can't accept that she's died.
I think that this that you're describing right now, Jeff, is literally what happens when you're not willing to say goodbye to people who die.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally.
Well, yeah,
or when they die like abruptly.
Yeah, I mean, the end of this movie is him learning to say goodbye. I mean, that's the arc,
he still doesn't.
Right.
I don't know. I
this movie does have a character arc.
When he kisses her at the end, he says, "Forget mom." I mean, that's like.
Oh,
that's,
you mean?
Yeah, I mean it's shallow.
You mean when he kisses Storm? So
well,
really,
okay. So one of my favorite things in this movie is how horny it is. Like it's weird horny. But what I love is the movie opens up with literally Ned Beatty saying, "Sex is life."
yes.
Right.
And the whole point of the movie is
Yeah.
that eventually this dude has to choose between getting laid or worshiping his dead mother. And like Ned Beatty says it right up fucking front, like sex is life. Everything's about sex.
If you take what he says literally, maybe Ed just needed to give his mom the old
Well, here, it's funny. I was just
some,
thinking about vaginas.
sauce.
Listen. I was just thinking about vaginas when you were saying this. And
I'm
here's the
thinking
thing.
about vaginas right now.
No, but here's the thing.
Vaginas.
He came out of one vagina and he's trying to get into another one, and that's the interesting push and pull.
This is the metaphor I was thinking about actually when
He
I was
left a
watching the movie.
vagina.
I mean,
He's trying
I
to
see-
enter another vagina.
Yeah.
It's like walking through a door.
I mean, the uncle put in a whole bunch of new holes too. So
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Look.
So the thing about the grief, I'm trying to move away from that as quickly as possible.
it's bad. I'm not proud.
Oh,
of
that's
it.
good.
You're not proud
No,
of
that's
that.
great. Oh, yeah, that
The-
was great.
The idea of the movie being a metaphor for grief makes perfect sense. But I'm not saying that I don't believe that it's that, but I think on top of that, I like the metaphor of, a young man close to his mother kind of having to symbolically, figuratively kill his mother in order to go and have a relationship with a woman outside the home, That's what I was thinking while I was watching it.
By the way, he
Cut
wears
the
an
umbilical cord
ascot.
story.
He wears an ascot to bury his mother at midnight.
He does wear an
He's wearing an ascot. He looks like
Did you
Vincent
see-
Price.
Okay, there's a gag, and this is not. There's probably nothing to be read into this. Although I don't know. You guys seem up to the challenge of reading into things. But so at the end of the movie, he goes. You're right. Ed goes out to the church, to the cemetery to bury his mom, and he has a confrontation with her. But then he goes back to his car, and the cops are there. The cops are there, like you said, Bob, because the father, Reverend, has finally gone nuts and tried to kill his
cheating wife.
he says
With a
his
bear
cheating wife with a bear trap. He's trying to get a bear trap on her head, right?
Right.
So we get this little scene where she's standing there talking to a cop and the wife, and she's distraught and crying, and she's got this very plain brown dress on. And she's talking to the cop, and she's like, "I'm not cheating.
Oh, yeah,
I promise. I'm
right,
never, I never cheat."
right.
I don't know why he would think that. And the cop's like, "Yeah, you're too nice. Nobody would ever." And so the cop walks away, and she turns around to go back in the building, and
her ass. Yeah.
there is a perfectly
Yeah.
90-degree rectangle cut out of the back of her
Because
dress
she's clear. Oh,
that
two
shows
way.
her ass off. And I want to
weird.
talk about how perfectly straight the cuts on this dress are. It's not like
But it's weird.
okay.
Also, it's like, doesn't
what-
necessarily mean
how does
somebody's
that-
cheating. What does that mean? I don't.
What does that mean?
It could
Like,
be
do you
okay. It
have
could be
to cut-
taken two ways. It could be taken two
I
ways.
thought
Way
that-
number one.
Why
Yeah,
didn't
sorry,
she
go ahead.
just hit on the cop? I thought.
Yeah, that
was
would've been a
the
great
obvious
payoff.
thing.
Yeah,
but
right.
she doesn't hit on the
Right.
cop.
She
does
doesn't.
not hit on the cop.
I
She
thought
just has her ass hanging out.
I could have sworn So here's the thing. One, it could just be the fact that he's a preacher and that his wife is walking around with her bare ass hanging out, and that makes him think that she's cheating.
She's clearly
and she's
straight.
literally oblivious to this detail, and so is he. And it's like this weird thing. Or two, that she absolutely is cheating, and that this is just the wink at the camera to show that she's just she's bottomless because she fucks so much.
I feel like there could
know?
have been so many ways you could make that joke. Hitting on the cop would be one, just like Bob
Well,
said.
that's the best
But
way. That's the best way.
Another way would be like the cop walks away and she starts to walk back into the building, and you see like 4 naked people come out of a closet or something,
Something like
inside the
that,
building, But this
That would have
weird,
been good.
like sliced dress is fucking with me. It makes no sense. Like,
It's-
what is the purpose of cutting a dress that way?
I'm thinking it's
doesn't
either
make sense.
editing or like on the day of filming. Either
It's like,
someone
shit, we
didn't
need
show
to-
up, or we just have to. How do we convey she is promiscuous? Show her ass, I guess. I don't. It's very odd.
I don't know. Maybe this was just a funny speech, but earlier in the movie when the Reverend, he goes into the hardware shop and he's like, "Hey Ed, do you have that bear trap?" And Ed's like, "Are you sure? Maybe this isn't. I'm not trying to judge, but maybe this isn't the best way to deal with your wife." And the Reverend, and I wish I had copied it down or something like that because it's quite a speech. The Reverend's like, "Okay, listen, if it's one dude or 2 dudes or 5 dudes, you know, I would let it slide. I wouldn't worry about that. But when it's like the
the whole
entire church
Christian,
council,
the whole
including
Christian
2
whatever.
women,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I like the part about the 2 women. He's like,
Yeah,
that's
he's
where
like,
I draw the
branching
line.
out.
I do remember one of the things he said, a man has to throw his balls over his shoulder
Yeah.
and dive in. I'm like,
Yes.
whoa.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
It's very weird.
It's very weird. Yeah.
Like I said, I think functionally they actually made it that makes sense, but that ending joke
That
doesn't.
cut dress is just
The dress
bizarre.
is weird. It's
Fucking weird. A lot of weird
Also,
choices.
like, did he come home and she's alone with the dress and he's like, you're cheating
You must be
because
cheating.
the dress is cut.
like, I can't.
Like, what was his reaction upon seeing your ass is just out? I don't, you know what I mean?
Okay,
It's just
another great way in the remake of this film.
the,
that running joke is still
Frumess
there.
Rose Stull.
Yes, the bear trap gag is still running, except the ending gets to a point where she turns on her son. She's chasing him, and he has to save his girlfriend. So they're running away. She's now got the chainsaw. I'm saying
Ed and Storm.
So hold on. Let's start with where she's got the lawnmower and she's gonna chop up the girlfriend. Ed chainsaws the door down. It turns into a thing where here's it is. Mom says there's an ultimatum. You pick me or you pick her. He picks her because she's still alive. It's the moment where he has to decide between
the warm
it has
vagina versus the cold vagina.
The cold vagina, right? And the cold vagina
Good
that he
Lord.
came from to the warm vagina he could sleep in, and
he could come in.
He could come in, and she says that. She says, "Do you want to come inside?" She
We're
says
allowed
that
to be horny
earlier
because
on.
it's a horny movie. Okay?
No, but she says that. Point is,
Also, we're
when
fucking
that
disgusting.
happens, okay,
Yeah.
here it is. He rams her through with the chainsaw. She's so hurt by his rejection, and that's also the sexual tension releasing because he fucks his mother with a chainsaw, literally penetrates her with the chainsaw to choose his girlfriend over his mother. She pulls the chainsaw out, chases after him. It's nightfall now. They're running around the cemetery. She's got the chainsaw and she wants to carve up the girlfriend. And what happens is, this is how you bring the bear trap back into it, because we've had 2 instances of the bear trap being talked about earlier. They run into the church and mom falls in the bear trap and it snaps her in half. And that's how she's defeated.
And the cops
in the
are
movie.
already on their way.
Sure.
Before that happens.
Sure.
So that also, that would also
That's
work with that.
in our remake. That's how the movie ends. In my opinion, that's what I would do.
solid-
Although
yeah,
I would
like
add
tying
for some
the bear
metaphor.
trap back in.
Sure.
Since-
What's the
since-
metaphor?
Since you were going for like back into the
Well,
womb
you mean a metaphor more direct than penetrating your
I'm
mother
adding
with a
something to
chainsaw?
that.
That's a
adding
good metaphor.
That's a good metaphor.
That is, but I was gonna make it more like bad taste, where I don't know how you do it, but you get him to actually pass through her entire body backwards with a chainsaw.
It's
so
done.
He unbirths
Dead
himself.
Alive, Bob.
That was
Dead
Dead Alive.
Alive.
Not bad taste, but yeah.
Oh,
It
sorry,
happened
sorry,
at the
Dead
end of
Alive.
Dead
Yeah.
Alive. Her stomach
you don't
opens
have
up
to explain it
and
to me. I know.
Yeah.
I was basically saying
Just
that,
reminding you, Bob.
But I want to see it with I want to see it with like just her as a normal
no.
size
I want to
person.
see. Okay, so all right. How,
Like him falling through his mother with a chainsaw.
what
as
about this?
That'd be a
What
mess.
about? Okay, this is a loose metaphor, I guess, but this would be one for those like blogger film scholars to latch onto. Like, he drives a car through her, right, and passes through her that way, like at the end, and like explodes her body.
She just blows up.
And then like her head rolls away or something, and he comes back afterward and picks her head up, and she's yelling at him or whatever. But like,
What if
there's
he drives a motorcycle right through her, splitting her in half?
I like the bear trap. Here's the thing.
bear
How about
trap.
it's a really big bear trap and it snaps off her head just like in the original. And now he's got the head and he's got to bury the head. And so then it continues. That's the very last scene is she's calmed down. Now that she's been defeated, she calms back down and they have this very tender moment where you have that like really sort of cathartic conversation of like, you're dead. And she's like, you're right. And mom acknowledges and accepts that she's dead. She goes, Ed, you have to do the right thing, or like, Ed, can you put me to rest, Ed? Or Ed, I'm tired. Can you put me to rest? Something really like sad like that. She says, I think I'd want to go to sleep now.
Motorcycle into her.
Right. Okay, Bob. Fine.
Bob really I'm saying your thing makes sense, but I want her split in half with a chain.
He really wants Ed to literally enter his mother before this movie's over.
But no, like, whole body, and she just fucking explodes.
Do you have a giantess fetish? Because that was that was something that was big in like the 40s.
I don't find that episode of Futurama.
Was it really?
Yeah, there would be
in the 40s.
Yeah. Like books about
Attack of the 50-Foot Woman and stuff.
Really
yeah, right.
No,
right,
I mean there were like lewd books about it too.
I don't have a giantess fetish. Or what was the one we were talking about earlier where you go inside people?
Yeah, where like you get swallowed. Yeah. I don't know, man. You're pushing this.
Going
through a thing pretty hard.
I'm thinking of the visual. I want to see a guy drive through his mother.
I think that's more like a personal.
No,
I don't know, man. I love the bear trap. That we forget about the bear trap.
I'm not a big fan of the bear trap. I'll be honest.
I know you're not. I can tell.
Sprinkled throughout the story, like it comes up a few
It's so
times.
perfect. It's so perfect.
You can.
They're about to look. They're cornered. They're cornered in the fucking chapel. She's got the chainsaw. She's saying, like, say goodbye to your girlfriend or some shit. Since you took me away from you and I love you, I'm going to take away the thing that you love. And she steps and we hear the click of something. And Ed and Storm and Mom are all confused.
Storm.
And then all of a sudden, the fucking trap just right here on her fucking head. And it just pops off and it lands in Steve Buscemi's hands.
Where is the trap sitting that it would grab her head?
It's on the floor. It's a Deus Ex Machina or whatever.
No, I'm saying, it chops her head off.
Reverend was going to use it to cut his wife's head off too. So I think.
Right.
Well, no, he was going to snap her in half. He was going to snap her in half.
I was going to say she can't just accidentally hit. Somebody has to, like.
No, it's set. It's set with a big. No, I'm saying it's
wall?
a really. No, I'm saying it's a cartoonishly big bear trap, like really big. And
okay,
she's a short woman, Bob.
And I don't like
short
that.
woman.
No, you're saying a bear trap was going to cut her head off like this?
Do you remember?
Yes. That's so big.
She steps on it. I don't care.
That's like a
Bob. That's what I want in the movie.
That is so. No bear trap is that large.
Oh my god. All right,
Bob,
enough.
There's plenty of big bear traps.
I want to remind you guys. There's something. Do you remember when Storm introduces herself to Ed? She says, "My name is Storm."
Yeah.
As in electrical.
Oh my God!
I just want to talk about that for a minute.
Just an early X-Men reference, I guess.
Just a stupid line, and I wanted to use it to like diffuse whatever was happening.
Objectify her, but she's very pretty. She's very beautiful.
She's a very attractive woman.
I mean,
if
she says anything, I'm gonna just agree with her. Probably like
Storm.
you did.
Sure, electrical Storm.
Yeah, your name's Storm. It's great.
Whatever,
everything you just said makes sense.
It's totally hot. I mean,
yeah.
Valid. Okay, so. This is a podcast. I have an agenda. I got some questions I want to ask you guys for your rewatch of this movie after at least 10 years. Mm-hmm. Were there any surprises? Anything you just didn't remember at all that popped up that you were like, oh, shit? I mean, for me, it was basically the whole thing.
I forgot that she was in on it. I forgot about the corporation. Mm-hmm. I forgot about, one interesting thing. When Robert comes into the house... which is a hilarious scene. He like breaks the door and he screams at her and spits coffee on her and throws a sandwich at her.
He takes a picture of George H.W. Bush.
And he headbutts it.
He headbutts it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm with you, Rob."
That was pretty funny.
I'm on your side now.
But here's one thing that I did kind of notice, a slight detail. I don't know that she was planning on killing him until he spit coffee in her face.
Yeah, until he was impolite.
When he was impolite. That's what caused her to do it. She strong theory. Just like with her son, just like with her brother, just like with Big Lair, she's not like yes, she wants to eat life and whatever, but like she's not actively trying to like eat anybody that she knows. No, even this guy, it's the fact that who
she sent to prison. Right?
Who she sent to prison.
I don't think she would ever hurt her brother or her son. Like they would have been last on the list.
Yeah, sure they would have been last on the list.
She had to be pushed.
Mm-hmm. But when he spit coffee at her and threw a sandwich and was super rude, That is the moment where that's the inciting incident. It's not that he entered the home. She doesn't even pay any mind to it. She doesn't really give a shit. It's that it's that moment, and I thought that was very interesting. I did not remember that.
How about you, Bob?
I didn't remember the virgin honey thing.
The flash forward at the beginning.
The beginning virgin honey thing was quite a surprise. I for some reason I thought we actually saw her eat a dog. I was. Yeah,
I thought that too.
We
see her chasing the dog.
That's a dead alive thing.
I must have been putting a dead alive image into my brain, but I thought she ate a dog. I thought I remembered a dog corpse in the house. I don't know.
I'm sure she ate that dog that she was chasing with the knife and fork.
Oh God, that was such a silly. She's like running down the street with a gleeful maniac grin on her face and like barbecue fork and knife in her heart. Yeah. Do you guys remember the very, very, very end where we get that sitcom kind of like 80s dad? Yeah. Like
that I remember very well. I remember that very clearly.
I just want to say it's stupid.
Oh, it's dumb.
And the look on his face, like,
right. It's
like... Also, like, there's like, it's like John Glover. Ed's not paying for this.
John Glover has a crisis of conscience, I guess, off screen,
out of nowhere.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'll pay Ed back by bringing his dad back." And
it's a pretty dumb joke, and it's also joke. Like. Oh, so nothing has improved now.
So nothing,
like
right.
His life is going to be a fucking nightmare again.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the final, the big $64,000 question. Did it hold up?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, it did. And I just want to say a couple of things. Number one, in Happy Fun Court, the Reagans have been reanimated, and you see them on the Hall of Fame.
Right.
That's. I just wanted to just make sure.
So you like picturing Nancy eating roaches in the White House?
Yes, that they're doing that. Ed had a proclivity for trying to make contact with the dead for a year, and I loved that as like a character thing where like,
where
it's like you're not right, but you're not telling us. And I'll tell you, I'm working on something right now where like. I'm struggling with that in my storytelling where like I feel like the characters are talking too much to the screen. I always talk about show, don't tell. And this is a perfect example of like how you reinforce something after the fact. Like he's so
it doesn't have to happen on screen. You can refer to it.
Well, no. He's so open to the reanimation process because he's been doing all of these things. And his uncle casually brings it up after she's brought back, and it just sort of reinforces the plausibility of everything. But it's not like direct. It's not like a Marvel movie that's like literally breaking the fourth wall and being like, "Hey, remember that I was studying to become that biologist," and like, but like something like that. Storm always wears red. Everything she has
until the last scene.
She has a red car. Yep. She has a red car, and like red is like
she's a devil in disguise until the last scene, right?
Oh, good point. Yeah. I asked myself this question: is AJ reanimated too? Is John Glover a reanimated salesman? And the reason why, well, he has this weird white hair, and it just kind of made me think that maybe he's way older than maybe his youthful face sort of like demonstrates. And then he also drinks the glass of milk.
Does it so
and
weird.
milk is animal. So
he's very weird, but I think that he's too adept, and he's in charge of himself too much to be one of these things that we, at least in the context of what we're given. She's the only example we have outside of 3 seconds of the father. But
well, I mean, we all saw the Reagans,
right? Also,
sure, but they could be zombies, and I will probably get by, right?
Yeah, true.
Totally were.
True.
Yeah.
It's very obvious that Uncle Benny really did not like his sister and really did not want her to come back. Whole movie, he's like, oh shit, she's back. Like he's just getting used to not having his sister around and like having this like freedom or something.
No.
he was not stoked about her.
I'm 50-50 on that. I think he was not stoked about having a zombie in the house.
No, the whole movie he's saying this isn't right. He's the moral conscience of the
right.
Of
I don't think
it,
but I don't think it's because of it being
it's funny.
his
The
sister.
moral sense of the movie is the guy
like,
peeping through a telescope.
Right. Well, I mean, Uncle Benny's life has obviously been pretty shitty. He lived with his sister and his
so that's what I'm saying. I think Uncle Benny maybe didn't hate his sister, but also it's not easy at the phases of their lives that the two of them were in. It's not easy for him to live together with her, and so when she shows back up and she's like, quit eating cereal or whatever it was, or get rid of your telescope,
right.
He's like, well, that's annoying. Like,
get the feet off the couch.
It's like
feet on the couch. Yeah,
his mom is back, or it's his sister, but like he's getting rules
he's getting
and stuff. He doesn't want to have that.
This film almost exists in the Twin Peaks world. That was another note. No, there's I very much feel the energy of like Twin Peaks in this whole world. Like it's like the sort of really dry, surreal element.
The happy 15-minute. Really
there was that 15-minute scene where everybody was talking backwards and dancing. I remember that. That was
right. Of course, the mailbox that in front of their house, it's a very stylized mailbox. It's a giant bike chain that curves.
Yes, the bike chain mailbox.
Do you notice that? Did you notice that, Bob?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So weird, so
very
friggin'
stylistic mailbox. Yeah,
very stylistic mailbox.
It's like thick. It's like a bike chain. That's like the size. Every like link is the size. I don't know.
It's just
sandwich.
very big.
I don't know.
It's very big.
I'm trying to think of the size that it would be. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, John Glover has a laminated presentation that is so fucking bad.
It's like the worst PowerPoint. It's like it's clouds. So and the first slide, I wrote this down on the first slide on his little presentation. It just says $1,000. Then he flips it over and it says $1,000 for life.
Right.
And then he flips it over and he's like, I don't remember, but it was just like so stupid. It's a laminated spiral bound presentation where it's like 4 slides, nothing but clouds with words on them. And I'm like, why do you need this to remember those words?
I almost feel like the people they choose. You ever seen The Game? Adventures the Game.
Yeah.
I almost feel like the people they choose. They do some kind of I don't know. Some psych evaluation on the person they choose. Like Ed is a fucking moron.
Ed's
like, you know what I mean? Like he is exactly a perfect target. He's got $65,000. He's a dumb piece of shit, and he's lonely.
Obsessed with his mother,
and his life sucks. He's lonely. He lives with his uncle. He has nobody.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is one thing we did not discuss, and I feel like we should discuss it before because no one's ever going to do a podcast about Ed and his dead mother, let alone this thorough or this long. Let's talk about. We sort of talked about the grift, but
I think it's coming up on Blockbusters. By the way, Bob's podcast.
Oh, perfect. I'll be watching that episode.
I'd do it. They would say no, but I would do it. I just want
the grift in this. The grift is a very interesting grift. Like we said, we talked about the leads list, but the way it works is first we're going to tell you that we can bring someone back to life. We bring them back to life, and he's very careful about his words. He says, because he does this all the time. He says, look, we brought her back from the dead, but if you want to keep her going, you need this, and you're going to have to keep buying this from us, or at least, hoping that you're not going to, figure out that it's roaches, although I don't see how that would work very quickly. That you would realize that it's roaches.
He opens the box before.
Well, the plan is that it has to be sabotaged so that he has to pay all the money to get out of the
right. But that's what I mean. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the grift. Then you have. Then you overdose the person. This is a thing that they do. They're trying to.
This is like
they're in a rush
heist, right? This is like
but they're in a rush. They're in a rush because of the developing competing technologies. They have to get through this list of leads as fast as they can to separate these people from their money. And by the end, John Glover isn't even trying anymore. Where as we discussed, he so brilliantly just goes, make sure that her head is separated from her body.
You have to do it exactly at midnight.
It has to be exactly at midnight, or else she'll come back for 1,000 years.
Yeah, you know what annoys me?
She's going to run out of gas. She's just going to run out of gas. That's
the Gremlins thing.
One of the
reasons,
what
does midnight mean?
Right. One of the reasons I dislike Ed too is because he doesn't ask him like why.
Doesn't question anything. Yeah.
Like he says, like, what did you? I would have at least said, "How did you bring my mother back?" Just like,
Right.
what did you use? Is it a machine?
Yeah, the more
Is it a fucking priest? What the fuck are you doing over there?
I don't want to belabor this point that I made earlier, but like when John Glover is telling Steve Buscemi how to get rid of his mom at the end, he like does it in stages. He's like, you got to do this, and Ed's like, all right, anything else? He's like, oh yeah, you got to do this, and Ed's like, okay, anything else? Yeah, you got to do this. I think John Glover's kind of sitting there going, Jesus, how much can I pile on this dude before he's like, what? No, really?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So he can go and jerk off to how much pain he's caused.
How much pain?
I
Yeah.
me's
He's
literally
horny.
he's drinking
There's a
shots.
There's a horniness in this movie that was cut out, which is John Glover getting actively fucking
an
turned
emotional
on by...
sadist. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like literally just like drinking shots, like dicking around, like at the bar, just like casually, like
yeah,
revealing these trade secrets. He's like,
Don't
yeah,
forget.
just oh, she'll come back 1,000 years. So
Yeah,
make
she'll
sure
come
you
back
do
1,000.
that. How does that make any logical sense from the rules that they've set up? Where if you need life, how is she going to walk the earth for 1,000 years
Do you
unless
remember-
it's necromancy?
Do you remember Hardware?
Yes,
Okay.
good
Yeah, of
movie.
So I guess
Yes.
Richard Stanley turned out to be a
Shitty-
He turned out to be a
shitty-
piece of shit.
But-
yeah.
Shitty
Yeah.
person, but great movie.
Do you remember the opening of Hardware? That the collector's walking through the blasted apocalyptic desert, right?
Right.
I guess what we really needed was a quick shot where he walked past a little patch of dirt that was just kind of humming politely, and he paused and kicked some dirt off, and there's Ed's mom waiting her 1,000 years to die because Ed fucked up the.
Oh, so just you cut
But
to
she's
the- oh,
just
you're saying-
ahead.
So
She's
you
just
cut
ahead.
to
though.
1,000 years in the future.
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah, that's Hardware is the
really- you know
sequel
what?
to Ed and his Dead Mother. Is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
But what you said too is like it, Jeff. It doesn't really make sense that she needs life, and then the act of trying to kill her makes her not need life anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what the
Right.
hell does
Yeah,
that
yeah,
mean?
yeah. If you
it's
don't
just- it's
keep
not
feeding
real.
her, she's gonna wind down.
and that's
but
what's
if
so
you-
cool.
okay, so in essence, he could have just chopped her head off, stuck it on a pike in the basement,
And just waited,
and and just
or just like left.
He could walk downstairs every now and then and have a chat with her, and she's never dying. You
Yeah.
know, she
Put her
doesn't
in a
need food.
box,
Kind of like
man.
in Santa Clarita Diet, the
right,
Netflix
Santa
show.
right,
Oh,
exactly like that.
Haven't
Yeah.
seen it, but I was thinking of
You
Boxing Helena, where you
should
just, like,
watch it.
put her
That
in a-
didn't spoil anything.
No,
you should
it's
watch it. Okay.
Okay, I wrote. I want to.
Well,
there were a couple of lines of dialogue that I wrote down. What?
Before you get
What?
there,
What? Oh God. What?
I just didn't get to say this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other podcasts on Google Podcasts that have covered Ed and his dead mother. Outside of you're gonna have 2
you're
episodes.
shitting me.
But they all only have 1. So
Yeah, but the
So,
first one we didn't exactly cover it.
no. But those just to shout them out. One is called Horror Fan.
Yeah.
One
It's
is
a
called
dude.
SUH. SUH. I don't know what that is.
That
Like
means
sub?
that no, that's sub, bro.
So, bro.
Sup.
SUH. The other one is The Bad, the Weird, and the Cheesy.
Yeah.
And the other one is Midnight Drive-In.
Are you gonna subscribe to all these, Bob?
I mean, I'm kind of interested just because they talked about this
Ed and his
movie.
Dead Mother.
So I'm kind of interested, like other people that would talk about this movie.
I want to hear.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
I wanna
kind of
hear
interested too.
Ira Glass take on this
this movie. Yeah.
Let's see what his podcast looks like. Anyway, all right. So there's 3 specific lines of dialogue that I wrote down because they were so wild, and I felt like, I don't know maybe it says something about me. I'll go in reverse order. The latest one in the movie. This one is by Gary Farmer's character, Big Lair. This is when
Liar.
Mom shows back up at the store, and he knows that she's dead, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. He's like, "Are you a spirit? Whatever, you're gonna haunt me." But he says something
Right.
that I think for at least 1 second there, he speaks for the audience. Because at the end of his little list of questions there, he says, "Is there some sort of moral lesson I'm supposed to be taking away from this?" And I was like, I've been
Right.
wondering that this entire time. you
I
know?
love that.
It's-
No, I love
it's a
that
good
whole
line.
scene. Just almost everything he says to her in that scene,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
absolutely love. Just like, are you just asking? Are you one of those ghosts, those poltergeists? You know, like
Yeah.
he's like totally trying to figure out what is going on.
He's the
It's great.
only one that's questioning anything. No one else questions it. He's the only one that actually questions it. And I don't know. Yeah.
Near the beginning of the movie, Benny is trying to get Ed to let go of his mom. And he says, and Ed's like, well, I made this promise to her and I don't want to break the promise. And Benny says, mothers were made to be lied to.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm sure this is just a throwaway line and I'm kind of forcing too much meaning onto it, but I kind of feel, I don't know, that like, what does it say, I guess, about me that line stuck out to me and I was like, yeah, okay. That's meaningful to me.
You lying to your mother?
Lied. Yeah, I mean, like, we all lied to our mothers,
Of course.
and like it's kind of par for the course, right? That's what you should expect as a mom, is that your kids are going to want to lie to you and separate themselves from you at some point, right?
You also get the idea from everything Benny says that he must have been quite a character when he was younger.
He's quite a character in his 70s.
Now, he is.
Yeah,
he is. But
I think it's so funny. I think it's so hilarious that Storm's strip show, where we, the audience, get to see her ass, the only person seeing her ass is Benny. It's not. Yeah. It's not Ed. It's Benny.
My thought is even though she knows that she's being watched, she actually can't see the human looking, because there's curtains
she doesn't
there.
know. Right.
So she as the agent was assuming it was Ed.
Yeah, it was a mistaken identity that actually, even if she wasn't a double agent, I bought that. Like when I was rewatching, because I forgot she was double agent, I was like, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. She's super lonely. I was trying to. Some of my earlier notes are questions like, "What's up with the neighbor? She's super fucking horny."
I was gonna say, like, if you just look at the town that they portray in this movie, which is sparse, there isn't much
Iowa.
for her to
choose.
It's
Iowa,
right? There's not much for Storm to choose from. Before we know she's a double agent, you can understand why she would just land on the guy that's kind of her age,
Because who else is there? It's
who else?
There's Uncle Benny. There's there's Big Larry. Maybe she could have a thing with Big Larry, right?
I mean, I prefer him over Ed if I had to choose.
I'd date Big Larry before I dated
Big
Ed,
Larry.
for sure.
Yeah,
he seems very sensitive and kind.
He'd get a dunk.
He'd get a dunk. There's the last line of dialogue. I think I might be wrong about this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Ed quoting his father. Maybe I'm wrong, but somebody said, as a piece of philosophy, it's better to be a hammer than a nail.
That's his mother. His mother, yeah.
That's what his mom told him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's a good piece of advice.
I mean, there's a lot of sort of like, it's sort of funny. This is like, there's a lot of Psycho in this film too. Like the mother, son. It's so funny how many films tie back to Psycho, but we don't talk about them like that. Like, for instance, I was listening to the Bob's podcast and was listening to the Scream episode, and was reminded
you're on mine right now, right? Like,
but I'm just saying that
for
mine.
I'm just saying,
somebody plug the podcast that we're doing this instant.
Okay, if you're listening to this podcast, go check out this podcast and make sure you listen to it.
Also, if you like Ed and his dead mother, check out these podcasts. No, just kidding.
No, but my point is that, like, the story of Billy Loomis's story is also a Psycho story. Literally, it's also a Psycho story with his mother and his.
Which one's Billy Loomis?
He's Skeet Ulrich's character.
Oh, okay.
So it's like,
the great Skeet Ulrich.
The great Skeet Ulrich. No, but it's just interesting. There's a lot of movies that sort of have that, and even Dead Alive too. The mother son dynamic.
A son's relationship with his mother is pretty fucking complicated. I think there's like
just as a daughter's
there.
Just as a daughter father thing is too.
I think
sure.
They're both Trump.
Any combination of like child and parent is probably a pretty complicated relationship.
I'll tell you this: I have a son and I have a daughter, and having a son and having a daughter is two completely different fucking things. I can't even explain it. I thought that when my daughter was born, it would just be like the same as like having my son. It's such a different, it's like a whole other animal. I can't even explain it. It is another shade of, it's literally unexplainable. It's just this crazy thing. And it's so different from my relationship with my son. And it's so funny how it's my wife and my son have this weird sort of, they have this relationship. Like, she is a sucker for anything that, like for him, she's like a sucker for him. And I'm a sucker for my daughter. And it's my wife doesn't like. My wife sees right through my daughter's bullshit, and I see right through my son's bullshit. But there's this crossover where I buckle. I just fucking buckle, and she buckles, and we give each other shit when we buckle for each. I'm like, don't you fucking.
When you watch a movie like this now, was this different when you watched it without kids?
A lot.
Like this one?
No. This one in particular. No.
I mean, any movie with parenting dynamics.
Tiny. Yes, and but not from my children. From, like I said, from my relationship with my grandmother. Actually, surprisingly enough. However, there are absolutely there are movies that I watch. Like, for instance, I watched Guardians of the Galaxy. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Jeff. No, it's okay. It's funny. Yeah. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and the first time I had seen it, my son was very small. Yeah. My son was very small, and then when I watched it, I literally watched it like a few weeks ago, and I was absolutely just like welling up with tears at the end. It was so emotional for me, and I guess it's because my son is older, and I just really just the love that what's his face has for Star-Lord is just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful moment, and it really does say something about. It says something about like the difference between biology and like actually being a parent. Like there's so much more to being a parent than just fucking being a sperm donor. Like being a dad, like, or being a mom, like I don't know. It's just there's more to it than that. Clearly, obviously, there's more to it than that. But
you guys know, I mean, I'm sure you do, but you guys know what Flanderization is, right?
Flanderization?
Is that where you grow a mustache and then rub it all over someone's face and go, "Oh, diddly-ho, neighbor"? Hi, diddly-ho, neighbor.
No, it's something that happens in TV shows where, like, a character, the longer a show goes on, the more a character's trait gets sort of exaggerated into cartoonish levels, right?
Like all the time.
Yeah. I don't mind it all the time, but it definitely happens. Like I always think of 30 Rock, like Liz Lemon by the end, which I think is fine because it's still funny. She turns into a caricature of what she was.
Like
Corey's older brother in Boy Meets World,
right?
Kevin in The Office, right? Kevin in The Office. In the Office. First couple seasons, he's a normal dude. But by the end, anyway. Or like Flanders is the naming, the eponymous character. I don't know if you guys follow Bob's Burgers, but I'm a big lover of Bob's Burgers.
I need to dive in. I actually never have.
It took me a while to get in. I watched the first
movie
episode
now, so maybe I'll do it for the movie.
I just want to say, I think for anybody, I guess you guys can't reality check me on this.
I've never heard a bad word about it, so I gotta assume it's great.
I feel like Bob's Burgers has actually been, over the last couple of seasons, anti-Flanderizing. I feel like every time I watch the show, the relationships between the characters just kind of get more human and more complicated. And I was just thinking about that as Jeff was talking, because you can very clearly, maybe it's only because I've watched 12 seasons of it, but like Bob and Linda, who are the parents in the show, and the children are Jean, Louise, and Tina. Bob and Linda have very unique relationships with each one of their kids, right? So like, Linda will let Jean get away with whatever.
That's what it is. You get weak. You get weak. And when my daughter has this way of just convincing me, and I become powerless, and I just say, yeah, sure, like whatever you want, like I just can't help myself. And it's the same thing with my son and my wife. He just has a fucking way of just like this manipulation, things that he'll never try with me. And it's the vice versa with Nav and Noah. Noah will never try these things with my wife because she just knows she won't get away with it. And it's just there's something about it, and it literally is. It's like a daddy's daughter and a mother's son, and it's just like there is a interesting sort of thing that happens there.
So,
I guess it's not.
I was gonna say, are you saying with going? I mean, I'm Jeff. Thank you for sharing that with us. but I wasn't trying to like negate your point by going back. But what I was saying with the Bob's Burgers thing, are you saying like the traits are not being exponentially exaggerated to the point where they become caricatures of what they were?
I think the characters. I think to me, when I look at characters who flanderize, I know that it's kind of a cornerstone of the definition that they have a trait that gets exaggerated into cartoonishness. Sure. But I just sort of think of it as an overall cartoonifying of the character, right? Sure. Like Ned Flanders, it's not just the fact that he's a Christian that gets turned into a big cartoon. It's like his whole sort of package of a personality that just gets broadened out. So what I'm talking about with Bob's Burgers is, if you look at like the first episode, it's great. It's a lot of fun. I'm not talking about the quality. The quality has been consistently great from beginning to end of the show so far. But like in the first episode, I don't know. It's very cartoony. It's like Louise, the restaurant's in trouble because Louise spread the rumor that they've been serving human meat in their burgers, right? That's like the whole, the A plot of the episode. And then the most recent episode that Jen and I just watched tonight, like the plot sort of hinges on Bob and Gene, like Bob not being able to relate to Gene's interests. Gene's interested in this thing, and Bob wants him to be interested in this other thing, and like he can't connect with him and explain to him why this is more interesting, and he doesn't realize until the end of the episode that the thing Gene's into actually is interesting on its own. It's not just this dumb thing that he's been blowing off, So I just feel like the show, and here that sounds like a great sales pitch for a funny cartoon show, but like it's still super funny. It's still super funny. It's just.
I think this applies to cartoons and to comedies. I feel like this does not apply if it's drama or thriller. It obviously does not apply.
It can happen sometimes. It can happen with comedy. It's hard. It's harder when you have
there's no such thing as comedy anyway. So.
Well, we know I disagree with you, especially with comedy TV. I heavily disagree.
Explain, Bob. Explain to him.
Oh, I did a shrimp night with Jeff to plug another podcast that is.
No, it wasn't shrimp night. It was a different.
No, it was shrimp night.
Oh yeah, it was shrimp night.
Yeah. And I, in honor of Ivan Reitman, I had the little assignment I gave Jeff was give me your 10 favorite comedy directors, right?
And what did I say, Bob?
Oh, and Jeff said comedy doesn't exist. So that was also an argument on
because is he
right? All comedies are actually other genre. Like all comedies are just drama with comedic moments in them.
Drama has comedy in it too.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as comedy.
You're insanely dead wrong about this. Like, it doesn't
no,
matter.
I'm super right.
What I'm gleaning right now is that neither of you convinced the other during your 4-hour shrimp night.
No, Steven, who do you agree with? Do you agree with me or Bob?
What's the question on the table?
Who do you agree with, Steven?
Steven, here's this. Do you agree with Jeff or do you agree with me, who has like the factual representation of video stores for literally decades, where people would go to a comedy section to pick out a movie?
I worked in video stores too.
I'm just saying, right? So you should be agreeing.
There's a comedy section, but it's really just drama that's funny. Okay. It's drama that's funny.
I reject the premise of the question. Like
no. Here's what I'm saying.
He's already rejected it. He's rejected.
I reject the question.
Wait. So you're not agreeing with me? Is what you're saying?
I'm saying.
Are you saying you don't agree with me?
Is Bob's Burgers a comedy show?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Is it? I'm asking.
No. Yes. The answer is yes.
So you believe that it's a comedy show? Okay.
It's not a comedy. Impossible. Comedy.
I mean, Jeff
comedy does not. No, comedy does not drive.
It does.
What's the
thing?
Jeff,
drama,
Jeff,
conflict is what drives stories.
Jeff.
What?
Jeff.
Yeah, but the conflict's funny.
Jeff.
What?
What is the value? What is the usefulness of this definition that you formed?
Here's the thing. Like many things in my knowledge base, they're all worthless.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to abstain.
But here's the thing. This came from something. This came from an errand. And the errand was Bob came to me and was like, hey, Jeff, what's going on? I want you to come up with a comedy.
So
thing.
Bob came to you and said, "Hey Jeff, I'd like to have a fun conversation."
With a comedy
and you
list.
said, "I'm gonna punish that motherfucker."
No, I did not. I sat there trying to qualify. Hold on a second.
I did it in honor of somebody.
Hold on a second.
It wasn't even like
the mindset of how I got to this line of thinking was this. Bob says, pick out your, what was it, Bob? My 10 favorite.
I said 10 favorite comedy directors.
Directors. And so then I started
thinking. That's a lot, dude. That's
right. Yeah. But hold on, Steven, qualify that for a minute. How do you qualify that? So I started thinking, what qualifies as a comedy director? And I started thinking about, well, when you approach it from a director and the movies that a director makes and not the comedies themselves, the only true comedy that's actually a comedy is spoof. Spoof is the only time where comedy is
I don't agree with that. But also, I mean, okay, I'm not saying that you can't look into the premise of my question.
I'm technically right.
But
I'm technically right.
Not really. But all you had to do was say, I didn't mean like a director who only makes comedies or something. I just meant pick a comedy that you love, and that's the director you put on your list or whatever. It didn't have to be anything strict, you know.
Well, for instance, one of the
relitigating this here on my podcast.
Do you think that John Waters
a horror comedy?
Right. Is John Waters a comedy director?
No, I know where you're going to go with this. Is if I say yes, you're going to say, "Oh, well, this movie has a bunch of drama and this movie has a bunch of horror in it and this movie blah blah blah." And
do you think John Waters thinks he's a comedy director?
Whom are you asking?
Both of you.
The answer is no.
I think you're wrong.
He doesn't think he's a comedy director.
I absolutely do. I absolutely.
Hold on a second.
I'm from Baltimore.
Let me text him real quick.
With him.
Let me just text him real quick. Give me 1 second.
He totally views himself.
How did this happen?
Director.
I thought we were about to end this fucking podcast.
John,
ask you guys to do your plugs.
John, do you think you're a comedy director?
And then,
hold on, he's going to answer me in 2
Bob,
seconds.
you had to go and pick, or one of you.
I can't even remember. I can't remember when I opened it. I was trying to say something else.
Let me ask you this, Steven. Does Herbert West save the cat?
Oh my God! What are you doing?
I find
Tarantino views himself as a comedy director. Do you know that? He said that several times. There you go. That's very confusing.
No, he's not. He's not at all.
I'm not saying he is or isn't.
Listen,
I'm saying he has said that.
If you guys don't stop and throw your plugs out, you're not going to get plugs on this episode.
Hold on, Steven.
That's how
here's
it's
the thing.
Because I'm just going to stop recording.
Comedy can have horror in it, and horror can have comedy in it.
We watched a horror comedy called Ed and His Dead Mother.
I know, but if you
look at more horror,
look at the end.
Right? That's the
look
point.
at the end of Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
where
these. Well, okay. Well, there's this really gory, like not gory, violent. There's this really violent scene. Much like horror films have violence in them, there's this really violent scene that doesn't play as violence at all. It plays as comedy. However, the scene, what's happening, what's being conveyed is not comedic at all, and yet it comes off as comedy.
Did you think the Jerry Show was a comedy?
No, that was a drama.
How do you view the Jerry Show? Do you view it as a comedy?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't find any usefulness in genre.
Okay, well there you go.
What a fucking answer.
Genre doesn't even. You're saying
I don't find any usefulness in genre.
Jeff is saying comedy doesn't exist, and then you go and say genre.
Bob's head is about to explode. Bob's going to go back to his podcast, and he's going to be like, "You'll never believe I was on this podcast."
Because I've always loved genre. What can I say? I love genres.
I love genre too.
I'm a big genre fan.
Comedy is secondary to something else.
I think if
comedy is a byproduct.
If you listen to the episode.
All right, that's it. You guys lost it. No plugs. Goodbye.
I'll end it here.
Frumess.com.
I'll end it here.
YouTube.com/Frumess.
If you listen to the episode,
it's a / actually.
We end up coming to a very loose, almost half agreement, which is I say comedy and drama.
So you half agree? He half agreed with me.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Comedy and drama are the overarching umbrellas, and everything comes out underneath.
To recap your podcast.
Yes.
Wait, can we talk till midnight?
This is why you're banned.
What? Why is
Jeff,
he banned?
You're banned. No, you're banned too now, Jeff.
What the fuck?
Banned. And I just want to point out that Bob
can we talk for like another hour?
Absolutely identical right now in real life as he does
to the corn?
in his corn clip on.
Yeah, no one knows that Jeff's background is a fucking clip of me from a year-old Zoom, which has added an extra layer to all of this. It looks really weird. Anyway, check out
facial expression.
Sorry, I'm talking to the Corn Bob right now.
Corn Bob.
Excuse me, Corn Bob. Do you think that comedy
Corn
is
Bob
real?
works?
At Corn Bob on Twitter. Is that
check me out at Corn Bob on both IG and Elon Musk's Twitter.
Wait, are we going to talk for another hour?
No, we're not talking for another hour. I'm hanging up on you motherfuckers.
Wait. Before you go, I have an idea. What if, how about this? Like, Corn Bob is a Bob clone that is cloned from a husk of corn. So basically you can have an army of Bobs if you just have one ear of corn. You throw the ear out into a field.
What is happening? Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Where would you get the DNA? Where would you get Bob's DNA? Would you take his semen? How would it work? How would you clone Bob?
Or whatever it is you do with podcasts.
Let me ask
people out there.
Hey,
check out Frumess.com. Check out thundergrunt.com.
It's youtube.com /
or
Frumess.
YouTube. It's a / youtube.com/Frumess.
He's sabotaging me.
I just want to say I didn't talk through all of that.
That was all Jeff. That was all Jeff.
Jeff should be more. Jeff should be more banned than I am. That's all.
You know what? This is bullshit, man.
I did click separate audio tracks, so I'll just mute the last 10 minutes.
Wow. Wow. Fuck this. Fuck this shit.
I want to see Jeff's podcast tomorrow when he goes live on YouTube. I just want to.
You know what? I just want you to know
2 hours
something.
in boycotting of Steven Stull's.
I'm
works.
gonna. Wow. Whoa. Third person much. Third person. Let me tell you something.
Tell your army that Steven Stull hates the Misfits.
No, I am starting. Let me tell you something. I am starting a Steven Stull podcast. And I'm going to do the first. No, it's called the Steven Stull Podcast. And I'm starting it. And it's going to be on my show. And you're not allowed on.
No, wait. Start up. Call it Hold Up, Steven Stull.
You know what?
Hold up, Steven Stull.
Every episode is about
Steven Stull loves mustard. Steven Stull loves mustard. Podcast.com.
Slander. I'll see you
every
in court,
episode. Every episode is about Steven's Facebook post, like a whole episode. Every time he posts, it's a whole 2-hour discussion on what it meant, and nothing else.
You have to do that thing where you use photos of me, but then you Photoshop them just a little bit to make me look worse.
No, you want to know something? I'm going to have a fake interview with you, Steven, on my channel.
You're just gonna.
I'm going to use a photo of you.
Oh,
and then
you're gonna clutch cargo
I'm
me.
Steven. Hello.
You're gonna Johnny Quest my mouth.
We're like, hello.
I'm Steven.
Hello, it's me, Steven. I love mustard.
That is a dead-on Steven impression right there.
I admit I'd watch it.
Holy shit.
I'd watch it.
You would watch that.
You
would watch it.
You would. I don't know who even knows what clutch cargo is.
I don't know what it means. What does it mean?
Okay, let's say someone disliked you enough to actually make a podcast dedicated to shitting on you.
I'm doing it. Tomorrow. I'm doing a Steven Stull podcast. You think I'm fucking joking? You just fucking wait. It's happening now. It's too late. You started this. You started a war you can't finish.
Wait, which one of us is this war with? What about Bob? Bob's the one.
Bob, you're a goddamn instigator, Bob. You instigated this whole shit.
I mean, if you start a Bob Rose podcast, I'll listen to it.
This is not, I want to point out, the most contentious end I've ever had to one of these podcasts.
Sure. Wait, can I make a suggestion?
No, you told me about the contentious end.
Wait, what? I didn't ever heard about it. Can you tell me? Tell me. Tell me. All right, tell us in the chat. But wait. Real quick, can I make a suggestion?
I don't know.
Take the first hour of this podcast and put it after this moment right here. No. I'm really serious though, so that it starts with Ed and the mother. It's better that way, Bob. I said Bob. I meant Steven.
Oh,
it's better that way.
Are you now telling me how to run my podcast?
I gave you a suggestion. That's all.
Jeff is unhappy with the way I produce my podcast, so he's super banned. Not just banned. He's
This is fucking bullshit.
I'm going to go back and delete him. I'm not going to delete the episodes I did with him. I'm just going to delete him from those episodes.
You're canceling me right now.
So it's just me.
That's what you're doing.
So it's just talking to nobody.
About Dark Backward.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at my episodes. I actually forgot. There was one that I actually forgot that I was on.
Oh, which one?
No, it was like one we did really early. Like I forgot. Fuck, now I don't.
Like
can't
we did some kind of
here,
wonderful
3 hours. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. I wonder how many hours.
Freddie Got Fingered. We did Howard the Duck.
There was something. It wasn't those. It was another one we did, and I forgot we did it. Now I'm blanking completely.
Wait a minute. I want to see how many
Harley
hours.
Davidson and the Marlboro
Harley
Man.
Davidson and the Marlboro
I
Man.
forgot that we did that. Yeah, I forgot that we did that on the show.
That was a fun watch.
That was it was totally fun. I found the picture that I photoshopped by accident the other day.
Do you want to do a Photoshop for this one? Get you and Jeff in there?
If you want me to, I can.
Let's see here. That's 4 hours.
I feel like
5
you're the
hours.
Photoshop master, though.
What, me?
I've been on the hold up for over 10 hours. I just want you to know that.
God.
I have over 10 hours logged on the hold up.
And 80% of them are tonight.
No, I did 5 hours with you previously. Yeah. The Meet the Feebles. Okay, so Meet the
What's
Feebles
the end game
alone.
Having a podcast. Let's open that up right now.
That's a good question. Let's do a podcast about that.
I love this question. Tell me about it.
What is it all building to? What is the reason for? We talked about it at the beginning of the pandemic because we were like talking about our own demise, and we're like leaving all this shit online
2.5 hours
after we die of COVID. Like it was like all depressing and shit.
6.5 hours, 9.5 hours, 9.5 hours.
I often think about what is the point of leaving all this talking for who, why?
You know what? So it's just out there, man. It's just fucking out there. Because you know why? It's not about, here's what I've learned about my shows, and this is why I'm so prolific, truthfully. I don't worry about what I've done. It's always about, like, as soon as the show is done, it's out of sight, out of mind. And I don't care whether it exists or why it exists or how it exists. I do it to be in the moment, to be doing something that I love to do, which is creating content. And I can do it most simply by talking. And I happen to do it with my friends who I have, lots of stuff in common with and enjoy having conversation. This is like us being here right now was us like hanging out at the bar.
Watching
like
you
if
say
all
this
drank at a bar.
in front of a video of my own head is very weird.
Listen, Corn Bob. The reality is,
where's your pop filter, Bob? What happened to that mic? That looks like that
was a USB mic. This is a real one. It's different now.
Okay.
So, like, there's a lot of room right here.
Whoa. 2 off mic. 2 off mic.
Jesus. Okay, I'm going to stop this.
No, don't stop it. We're in the middle of talking
it's
about
11 o'clock at night. I have work
so
in
what?
the morning.
Oh, so what?
Just quit your job. What do you got this?
Quit your fucking job, you
How much money do you make on this?
Yeah, negative. Let's see. Negative at least, I don't know.
Are you still using Podbean?
Yeah, I'm still using Podbean, so negative $100.
You're using Anchor.
No.
Okay.
No.
Wait, dude, Anchor's free.
Anchor is free, but I don't use Anchor either.
I don't use Anchor. I use Podbean.
I'll tell you something. I was making money on Anchor, and then those motherfuckers pulled the carpet out from underneath me. And I've been trying to get back up my shit so that I could start making money again. And I'm really fucking pissed at Anchor about that shit.
Well,
I almost
Spotify.
feel like taking all my stuff off of.
That's Spotify, so.
Yeah, it fucking annoys the shit out of me. I love Spotify, by the way, but it really annoys the shit out of me. I love as a consumer. As a consumer, I love
Spotify because I'm on Spotify. This thing's on Spotify.
Well,
too.
if
money?
So through Anchor, I had ads, and I made $52.
Anchor, I think.
Yes,
that's what he's talking about.
I made $52 from my first ad, and then I've been waiting for my second ad, and it's been like 3 months, and I never got it. And I have a feeling my numbers aren't high enough, and I don't know how high they have to be. It's really frustrating. And it was like a great secondary way to do that. I mean, that paid for my Shudder subscription last year, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, why haven't they brought me back? And then I tried emailing them, and it got no response. And it's kind of made me not want to put out my I don't update it as fastidiously as I used to because I'm not making money anymore off of it. It's kind of annoying. It's good promotion. Spotify's huge. It's a huge market.
I wonder
I could
if
filibuster
listening to this on Spotify.
You want to know something? We're about to hit 3 hours, and I could filibuster this motherfucker for another 7.
Oh my God, you're a monster. All right, no. I love you guys.
3 hours. We did it. 3 hours. Yes!
It was going to be over 3 hours with my intro anyway. But thank you so much. I'm hanging up on you now.
Thanks for talking about this comedy movie.
Thank you.
3 hours long.